Well, welcome to round 5 of the GT3 FLATOUT KARTS E-Series. And, of course, we are coming to you from Daytona tonight. Myself, Matt Kavanagh, and again, I'm joined by Chris Mitchell, mate. It is fantastic to be back in the seat and behind the mic.
Yeah, it's great to be back on a weekend that we were originally planning on being karting here in Western Australia. We find ourselves under some changing conditions on the West Coast for the first time in a little while, and we get to go E-Series racing for the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series instead.
Yeah, it's been quite a few weeks, and I don't even know where we're at with this one. I have to bring up the time remaining there. So this is the end of the practice session if you've just joined us on the live stream. So 6 minutes left to go in practice time, and then we will change over to our qualifying session. So we're not going to bring you a big lead into this one. There's no point. We're just going to get straight into qualifying, but I will bring up the standings so you can see everyone who's joined us in the race tonight. But I suppose a couple of things we need to go through. Let's have a look at the series poster because there's been a few changes, just to update everyone. And this is the latest series poster. We will send this out on social media, but it looks like next week is going to be the 14th of February, which is Valentine's Day. We're going to give that one a miss. Back on the 21st, 28th, and the 27th. So 3 weekends in a row, and the last one's to be confirmed as we check out some dates moving forward. With you guys over there in the West, got quite a few go-karting meets on, so they could move around a bit. That's one of the ones we need to check. Quick look at the point score system, so how it works. 289 points for first, 253 for second, 221 for third, and so on. And you can grab that if you check out the social media pages. But that's where it is, and of course the last 5 positions are going to give themselves, or 6 positions are going to give themselves 1 point each. And that's how the system works. Very familiar one. You know about that one, Chris?
Yeah, it's based on the 289 point system we've used for quite some time in WA karting. And it all adds up over the rounds so far. This is your current round season standings.
Oh, well, no, this is actually our what happened last round.
Oh, that's right.
A bit of a recap. Yeah, I know, it's been a while. I don't remember what series I was on and what we were doing, but yeah, Paul Mansell took out the last one, Gianni Litsu in second, Corey Bennett in the Zero Autosports entry came in third. Of course, the biggest one there, Sam Dicker, was missing from that race, so hopefully we will see him, and we do know he's back in there. But talking about series points to date, here's a quick roundup after 4 rounds so far. So Paul Mansell, with Sam Dicker missing the last one, has gone to the front on 968 points, with Sam Dicker in second on 795, then Corey Bennett at 671. Close behind, Kevin Norman in 647, and Kieran Ellis rounds out the top 5 on 581 points. And there's quite a few as we move back between 11 and 20 that are very close too. Jake Burton and Tim Nicol on the same amount of points. Sebastian Guest just in front. Nathan Norman just behind. Plenty of tussling going on for those positions further back in the championship, and we've still got a few rounds left to go.
Gianni Lutsu, who was a standout in the previous round at Watkins Glen, driving an incredible race to second. With only 1 result to his name, 253 points, sits 15th in the series so far. But he's back in the house again for this time at Daytona Road Course under lights at night for round 5. This is going to be cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool to watch him out there at night time as we try and grab someone else who's actually out on track. FLATOUT KARTS entry of Kevin Norman now. So practice with 4 minutes left in this one. So 4 minutes left in this race to go. Practice session to go. And then it will be a half an hour qualifying session. Fastest time will go to the front of the pack. Remembering that in qualifying, if you do go the outer bounds of iRacing, you cross the curb too much or push over onto the grass or make a mistake, it does null and void your lap. So very important. You see someone's on a bit of a flyer and you think they're going to take the lead. They may not. They need to make sure they have no incident points against them for that lap.
There's a couple of places where you can really hurt yourself on this track too here. Sorry to cut you off there, Matty. Right on the back stretch into the bus stop, watching a couple of the lines used in practice. Pretty risky. You drop too far off the runoff there and you're going to cost yourself a run at a qualifying time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, actually, as we check out Kevin Norman still on a bit of a lap here. Like you say, you come into the start-finish line is on a bend already as we go anti-clockwise on this track. You come into turn number 1, which is also where the pit exit runs alongside it. So that's very interesting, as pit exit will coincide with that. Come around turn 1, a big left-hander, a little slight sweep right-hander through second, then left into third. But you really need to be on the left-hand side of the track going into turn number 4, and that is also pit exit. So that's going to be a tricky one to see how everyone sort of gets out of there when we get busy. And turn 4 is a sharp 180-degree turn. That one's going to be one to watch too, Chris.
Yeah, it's going to be tight there in the run through the infield. I was just watching Kevin Norman there as he's using the car to break through the bus stop, and he gets up onto the banking of turn 11 and 12, up to 31 degrees of banking here at Daytona International Speedway. And this is where it really hurts those cars that are not too quick in a straight line with outright speed. There's been a bit of chat over the drivers' Discord the last couple of days about which cars are going to be the best to use here as we bring in the new BMW, I believe the M4, into iRacing with recent updates, and we get to see that for the first time here in the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series. And the FLATOUT guys making a step away from using the Audi for the first time.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? The Audi's been the car of choice, and one of the interesting things about the series is you can actually change the car between rounds. So I'm just trying to see who we got. Tyrone Anderson told me that he was putting the beer livery back on, and I'm just coming to see if it's loaded up. Oh, the Great Northern livery's back. That's what we like to see.
Beautiful.
And who we got? Who's that anime guy? Eli Tunstall? No?
No, Kieran Ellis.
Kieran Ellis, sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to look because I did see something a little bit out there. Kieran Ellis, here he is. The anime is back.
Here.
Yes, I thought I saw some anime, and I was like, where is it? Where is it?
Camera curve. As he loses it.
You know, I actually watched a little bit of practice last night on this track, and that's a very common corner for cars to spin out on. So watch that one. That's going to be very interesting too. As you come off the banking with a... What's that? Is the bus stop? Is that the bus stop?
That was to Ellis. He was just spinning through turn 6, I believe, before he makes the run back onto the big wraparound at the bottom end of the circuit.
Yeah, so that's quite a common corner for everyone to come off, and that's another one. It's a 180-degree turn. You know, you're going to have to pull the car up and really turn it in there, especially a lot of speed as you come out of 4 through 5, only a slight left-hander. But I think the banking...
This is where it's going to be tight here.
Yeah, the bus stop.
Bus stop.
Another overtaking opportunity too. I don't know how they're going to go in the drafting here as they get up on the banking around around turn 12 as you come down back towards the start-finish line. That's going to be interesting. Exactly where the overtaking points are on this one. I think you're going to have one going into 4. Going to get another overtaking option into 6, which is that really tricky 180. Maybe down to 7 if you can get a good run. And I think the bus stop's probably going to be your other main overtaking area as well.
It's going to be pretty tight as we're wrapping up the final 15 seconds or so of practice. We've got Kieran Ellis off the banking and into the turn 1 and 2 complex. Slight chicane, it's pretty quick through there. It's going to be hard to race with lots of cars on those opening laps before he makes the run down into the Rodriguez International Horseshoe.
So that is our practice session run and done. We've just started the stream up so everything can settle down. Everyone can get on board. Don't forget to send us some comments. We've got the stream chat up, whether you're watching us on YouTube at Medicab Media or you're watching us on Twitch, Facebook, it doesn't matter. Send us through the comments and they will come up on our screen and we can go through exactly what is happening out there, as that looks like that is run and done for that practice session. So the interesting thing now is we get on to qualifying. This is where it all counts. It all counts in qualifying.
Going to be all on the line here. It's going to take a little while for the drivers to get up to speed. It's quite a long lap as well, 5.3 kilometers with 12 or 13 turns, depending on which of the track maps you're looking at live online. It's pretty hard to really build the momentum quickly here. We're going to see a lot of early mistakes costing these guys some laps, I think.
We might ride on board now with Sebastian Guest and just have a look at one of the laps around here as he gets on his out lap.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, it is actually Sebastian driving. I believe Dylan's watching the live stream online at the moment. So let me know, Guesty, if I'm wrong. Let us know which one of you two are driving. They're doing the swapping driving duties round in, round out.
Look at the banking here. Like that is cool. A lot of banking. That's cool, though.
That is very cool. A great perspective on board at the moment.
Is that a bus
stop?
Yeah, a lot of curve usage there. It's going to be interesting qualifying to see how much iRacing allows them to use that curve and at what point does it come null and void.
Very similar to the same complex we saw in the last round at Watkins Glen in the bus stop section, but the opposite direction, but much more settled. It looks like it's a bit more open, so they can slow the cars down a bit more evenly this time instead of stabbing the brake and flying over the tops of the curves as they were at Watkins Glen back at round 4 of the series. Cool as well, 18 degrees of banking there. Very easy to run yourself, isn't it? Yeah, very much. Managed to turn a few laps on this course through various simulator systems over the years, and it is very, very easy to run yourself too deep into the turn 2 complex, under brakes and run yourself wide, and then you find yourself scrambling to get back to the race line. It kind of upsets your whole run all the way to the horseshoe and hurts your lap time by at least a half a second in some cases.
It almost looks like he's running wide there. You need to know where you are. It's another big 180-degree turn there as he's got to get the car turned around. Looks like turn number 6 now as we go into 7. Interesting who tries to put their nose in there. So 7, I think, is that one where everyone's spinning out.
Yeah, hard under brakes into 7 before you make the run towards the banking. And it's going to be really painful as well if you're racing with somebody and dicing and you slow each other up in that turn 7 left-hander. You're going to hurt your momentum all the way around turn 8, turn 9, and the run towards the back stretch and then the bus stop. Someone from further behind could creep up on you, get a bit of the drafting action and sneak up the inside before you hit the bus stop right here.
Here we go, the teammates. This is Sam Dicker. And they are trying to get some drafting going here. Get around here. And I think that's actually Sam in behind, just tucked up. Oh, the teammates. They've got to see if they can push these BMWs all the way to the limit at the moment.
That's tight running there. That's right on the bump draft.
Be interested to see how much livery we've got left. Damage is turned off on these, though, isn't it, on this round? So that's unfortunate. Yeah. It would be great to see how much of the front bumper is still left on at the end of this race. Don't forget a certain amount of incident points, so we'll get you a penalty. So you need to keep the incident points down still. And our race control, Mr. Skoma, will be watching that remotely to make sure everyone's doing the right things. You can see the slightly different line they're taking through there as well. Now we're starting to see some laps come in. You know, 144 is a reasonable lap. I have watched a couple other Daytona races this week where I've seen them in the 143s, 142s with various cars. But Paul Mantle's hit us out as we have a look at so far where we are sitting with the fastest lap times. And Paul Mantle's up the top there with 144.516. Sebastian Guest 145.09. Noah Lyle with a 145.912. The Anime Man, Kieran Ellis 147.82, and Peter Biancucci with I got it wrong, didn't I? Biancucci with 149.90. Peter B.
We'll settle on Peter B.
The Italian Stallion. The good old Italian Stallion.
Kieran Ellis just jumps up into the 6th spot there. Dylan Sates jumped up into P5 for the 146.575. Keeping an eye on the car speed at the moment. Sebastian Guest had some pretty hot car speed before. It's 278 kilometers per hour showing here. It's all about which car is a little bit slipperier in a straight line. And some of the chat trying to get the Audi to be faster in a straight line would make it very, very loose and harder to drive. So you can see a few of the guys have taken a turn away from using the Audi, although there is still quite a fair using the Audi R8 LMS in the field. A fair few have jumped over to the M4 GT3 here. We've got a couple of the Huracans and a couple of the Ferraris.
Yeah,
the BMW M4 is really taking a bit of a favour here.
And we've still got the Ferraris out there too. They're still quite popular, and I'm just trying to see if The Ferraris, we're still getting them run by the Azura Autosports entry out of Victoria. I'm just having a look down here, see if we've got a lap from yet. Peter Beaumont. Yeah, no, he's in a Ferrari, so he's stuck with it. Where's Mr. Mark Peck? He's gone back to the BMW. We'll have to check him out, see if he's still got the wings on board, as it looks like Sam Dicker starts another lap. Let's see where he ended up in the field at the moment. Just having a look. He is...
hasn't set a time.
No, so I think he used a lot of curb there, and that's what we talk about, the outer limits. If you use too much of those outer limits, null and void lap. So watch for Sam Dicker. Here we go, Mark Peck. No, his livery hasn't loaded in iRacing unless that is his livery.
Oh, he's rocking with the standard livery there.
No, he's dreaming about having a great livery. He's dreaming about some black there, and yeah, the car's looking a bit naked at the moment. That's really what it's looking like.
The standard livery on the BMW though is pretty tidy. I like how they've highlighted around the monstrous nostrils on the front end of the BMW as we got to bits of re-entry action there. Mark Peck just going, hey, no, you can't go there.
I'm not letting you re-enter there, mate.
No.
So many different.
It was a bit of an abrupt entry.
So many different combinations of this track when you actually have a look at the track map on iRacing that they could have made out of this. Really, not us, but I mean iRacing have 4 different layouts with this that you can choose from. So that's quite interesting.
There's some awesome layouts for the Daytona track, isn't there? Because they've got they've got the full super speedway. They use a different variant in the NASCAR version of the road course. They put a second kink in it, would you believe? NASCAR actually adding more corners than the traditional road course. And then the motorcycle road course does things a little differently again, but not by much. We are using the 5.7 kilometers actually.
And the BMWs, I mean, Paul Mansell's in the Lamborghini up the top there, but he's getting chased down, and there's 2 BMWs right behind him. Scott Stevens, who we haven't seen in the series before, and Kevin Norman right behind him. So BMW's at the top at the moment. Then we've got a few Audis, backed by some Ferraris. But I think Sam Dick has been fast. I think he's just been using too many out of bounds of the track, which is why we're
seeing the practice times from Sam Dicker. He put down a 1:43.8. I think Paul Mansell was the second fastest in the practice session to a 1:44.0 at the time.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at my incident screen here at the moment. Mason Harvey just off track. So, like, that's what I mean. They get off track in qualifying. It's a null and void run. So you basically got to come around and start your lap again. Scott Stevens, is he a WA guy? We haven't had him on the series so far, Chris. Is he someone familiar?
No, just doing a bit of my investigative research. Who is this Scott Stevens?
Who are you? Where have you been?
He's a Perth boy, it seems. Seems to be a Perth boy jumping on a bit of an iRacing regular, it seems, joining us for the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series. So it's good to see more people coming out, not just from WA Karting and WA Motorsports, but more of the dedicated iRacing people joining the series as well. It's starting to build a bit of clout as we pack in pretty decent entry count this time around. We've got 20, 22, 25 entries for round 5 of the GT3 E-Series. Not bad for what was a bit of a short notice for you and I here, Matty.
Yeah, late notice changed back to a Sunday night. We weren't sure it was going to go ahead, but a little bit of COVID brings the sim racing back in as we complete this lap just about for Scott Stevens. He's currently sitting in second. He's only 1/10, well, not even a 10th behind, Sam Dick has just gone to the front. So,
there you go.
Scott Stevens goes back into third. Eli Tunstall actually just got him. So I think he's just having a look up there. He's gone in there with a 1:44.505, so he gets himself back into third. He just dropped down to fourth for a second. So plenty going on at the moment. So Sam Dicker, like we say, looks like he has got a lap back on. Who else have we got? Timmy, Toucan Timmy. Oh, mate, he's just getting repairs done again. He's about to come out for his out lap. Craig Spencer, who hasn't had the most fortunate of GT3 series. We know he's just had some fumbles at the start, really. Got involved in some incidents throughout the races, which has put him back, and haven't seen him really in the position we expected to. But let's see if we can get a good lap together. He used a lot of curb back there. I'm just going to have a look up here on my incident screen and just see. I haven't seen an off track. I've seen an off track from Tyrone Anderson, which I'm not surprised about. Good to see he's got the Great Northern livery back on. I'll have to get my get on the beers voiceover come out. I think I've got the audio there loaded up. We might be able to play it if he takes a win. I will play Get on the Beers audio. I'll play the whole song if Tyrone Anderson wins tonight. So
a bit of an incentive for him.
Yeah, a bit of incentive for him and a bit of incentive for someone to let him through if he's second. You know, like, have a bit of a party after the show. That'll kick us off social media pretty quick.
I was just watching the car behaviour of Craig Spencer on his way into the bus stop and his slide in the back end into turn 10 as he tries to gather it up under brakes. And this is one of those courses where you really want to open up the wing and flatten things out to get as much straight line speed as you can, but it can really bite you in these tighter sections where you've got to slow down in a hurry.
Yeah, well, let's talking to Tyrone Anderson. Your one and only chance, mate, play Get on the Beers here on the GT3 Series broadcast, is for you to win. And he's sitting in ninth, which isn't too bad, actually. At the moment, he's got himself a 145, 143. So he's only a second off the pace. He'll be wishing that he could just kick everyone out of the session. Black flag him or something. That's what he'll be hoping for.
I do like the Great Northern livery on that. It's got a bit of action happening down the right-hand side. Is he running a split livery?
We'll have a look in a second, see if we can change over to a slightly different view. Maybe it'll give us another view from the other side. But speaking to him just through the week, he said he actually did reload this for us, but for some reason it wasn't loaded into trading paints, so it didn't load up for us in the last read.
It looks like it's actually running a split livery down the right-hand side of the car. It's got a different logo on there. Great Northern on the left for sure. There we go. Okay, now I know what's going on.
Yeah, best of both worlds. That's all I can say, the best of both worlds.
Great.
Oh, what if we can get a better one on that one? No, that's a rear chase. There we go. Look at the number plate, says it all.
Yeah, it tells the story, doesn't it?
That's an off track, mate. That means you're not going to get anything for this lap, I don't think. You're gone, mate. We're going to someone decent. That's what we're going to go back to. Someone half decent. Sebastian Guest is out here as well. Let's bring him up and see what he's going to do. He's currently sitting in 8th. He's stuck with the Audi, despite the straight line speed we've been talking about, where they have suffered a little bit out in the banking. They're still going to go well through the places like the bus stop and down as that one gets loose under brakes.
I was actually reading on this. I think Sebastian did a bit of the development work on the setup and sent it over to Sam, who sets up the baselines for the series, and sent it off to Sam to try and shake out the finer things. But Sebastian's decided to stick with it and try and get this car working for him here. And that really flattened out the rear wing on this car to make it better in a straight line. But we'll see whether it pays off through the tighter stuff. At the moment, the first of the Audis is Caleb Sumich. Good to see Caleb joining us in the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series. He's 6th on time with 144.801. The top 5 is dominated by 4 BMW M4s at the moment. That is an abundance of the new car to the iRacing series.
So Sumich just does his best lap, stays in 6th position, but a 144.670. So he just completed that lap just then. It's good to head over to him. I'm just trying to see where the Azura Autosports guys are, because I would expect to see them. They've still stuck with the Ferraris. Great looking cars. They keep the livery absolutely mint on these things. The Azura Autosports out of Victoria. And this is Fitzroy Beaumont, one of the teammates. But I'm just having a look through some of my incidents. I think maybe they've had a couple of off tracks in their qualifying, which is why they haven't really set those times. And I'm just looking for his teammate to see where he has ended up out of all of this. So I haven't actually seen him logged on here so far. No, I have not. So I thought I saw him earlier on the practice session maybe. It's good to see the Azura boys still fighting it out in the GT3 E-Series, like we say. A few date changes, but we will be back for the... we have next week off for Valentine's Day, and then we're back for the next 3 weeks in a row.
It's going to be big as we work our way into the second half of the GT3 E-Series. It's been pretty fun so far and definitely bringing out some new and exciting driving. It's going to be interesting to see who's learning from using the sim racing as much as they can during the off-season and comes back out swinging when we go into West Australian karting once again.
I think a lot of people in the last week have used the sim. A lot. A very lot.
It'd be safe to say it'd be a lot.
Nothing much else to do, is there? You only get 1 hour of freedom, but you're all free again, so it won't take long for those events to start happening once again out there. Sam Dick is still sitting up the front there with 144.167 as we just see Noah Lyle go into the pits. Kevin Norman, let's see how he is going out there with the BMW this time, and looking pretty flat out there at the moment. He's done a 144.651. He just ran a 144.688 in his previous lap. So he doesn't have too much time to catch up. He can make it happen. What's he, about 8/10 behind the leader? Paul Mansell's just done a 1:43. Wish I'd seen him getting around, because that would have been one to watch. Might just stick with Kevin Norman on this lap, though, to see where he completes. But yeah, Paul Mansell just gone number 1 with a 1:43.8. That's fast. So Eli Tunstall is only, well, he's nothing in front. He's 17 thousandths of a second, holding into 4th position over Kevin Norman. So Kevin Norman only needs to get 18 thousandths of a second faster, and he can move up a position. It looks like he's pulling into the pits as well. Paul Mansell has stopped. This one, Sam Dicker's going to have to hit back on this one. Paul Mansell looks like he's in the pits at the moment, so no point in going across into him. He's just taken that pole position time. He's got 3/10 over Sam Dicker. And the
I'm going to see Sam and Noah back into Perth as well. They've been over on the East Coast doing some testing with karting. I think Noah actually made the podium at the Junior Top Guns for the first West Aussie to do that over in the Victoria. So it's good to see them doing work over there and back here in WA, I believe, and running again in the E-Series.
Yeah, and the FLATOUT Karts guys are the sponsors. They've been busy too, haven't they? Building lots of karts. Unbelievable how many they churn out. I did see they were actually looking for some people there.
Yeah, they've
help
got
them out. They're looking for some staff.
Big season coming ahead for those guys, and they're bringing in the new Paralyn kart, or new to WA at least, bringing the Paralyn into to run. It's going to be interesting to see how they go, managing a few different brands of kart across their team, not only with the Paralyns, but the DPE X5 platform as well. And I'm going to be keen to see Sam do some racing again.
Well,
put on a real show.
Sam Dicker's hit back, but he has not got it off Paul. He is now 42 thousandths of a second behind him. So,
that's tight.
That's tight. All right. Now it's Scott Stevens to see what he can do. He's currently sitting in 3rd. He's got to grab, well, he's done a 1:44.5. He's got 6.5 tenths to catch Paul Mansell. So you're going to have to be 6 tenths to be right on the back of these two, really. That's what we're looking for, as it looks like he just goes through the final. 1:44.33. So he does improve. That's his fastest lap so far. Puts him just under 5 tenths away from the leader in this qualifying session where we've got 12 minutes left to go.
Pretty tight. It's good to see some of the new faces showing up towards the pointy end, but Sam and Paul once again going at it here as we missed that battle that they were hoping to see from them last time out, as Sam was over on the East Coast. But they're back again after that. The battle that we had at the Circuit of the Americas and that last lap incident from Sam, handing over the win to Paul Mansell in that round.
Yeah, and then Paul Mansell dominant really in that last round that we had at Watkins Glen. Took the race out, and just goes to show he's obviously I know he was chasing the setups quite early, do a lot of practice on this one. I think he probably understood the aero difference, which is why a lot of people have gone to the BMW. But he is the only Lamborghini to be in the top 10.
Wow, he's got it sorted.
Kieran Ellis in 11, so that's the closest Lamborghini to him.
Haven't seen a time come from Gianni Lutsu yet here, so wondering whether he's just continually recording off tracks. Has he been circulating? Can you tell here?
No, I have no time at all, so I do not think he has been circulating. Because even when they do not, see, sometimes you'll see a best time in the timing system, but they will still be further down, and you wonder why they're sitting so far down the order. It's because that time does not count, and that's why we see what we see. I'm just having a look at Eli Tunstall there at 1:44.634. So, yeah, plenty still going on. Kevin Norman now getting around. Just trying to see where he is in the track. That's the number 71. So he's just come out of turn number 6, going down to 7. And we see a lot of cars come off on that corner, don't we? Heavily under braking. The back end of the car just picks up and tries to slide around, overtake the front end.
Yeah, they're really tempted to try and maintain as much corner speed as they can and get on the throttle early there, because the earlier you get on the throttle, the better run you're going to have all the way around the back end of what is turns 1 and 2 on the regular oval course. You've got to pick up that speed because you're topping out 270 plus kilometers an hour on that back stretch before on the brakes. So 276 just there for Kevin Norman before he got on the brakes for the bus stop, and you've got to attack those curves really heavily in the bus stop there.
There we go. Caleb Sumich is just in front, so let's check him out while he comes around before we head back to Kevin Norman. So he'll come around to complete his lap here. About 10 seconds to go. He's got a 1:44.670 is his fastest lap so far today. He heads towards that start-finish line. Won't improve on that one. Kevin Norman's not far behind to complete this lap. 1:44.4, which will actually be his fastest time. Move him up into 4th position. He'll go past Eli Tunstall.
Nicely done. As noticeably, Sam Dicker has gone quicker at the front here, 1:43.6. He's really opened up a little bit more time over Paul Mansell, who's still on that 1:43.85. Scotty Stevens, 1:44.3. Kevin Norman just setting that 1:44.419 there. Eli Tunstall rounding out your top 5 with 1:44.63. It's pretty tight in that mid 1:44 segment there, from Kevin Norman in 4th on a 44.4 down to Tyrone Anderson on 44.8. That covers 4 cars there, really tight on time. There's a lot of guys around the high 1:44s, low 1:45s mark. That's going to be pretty tight when we go racing.
Just waiting as that time comes up on screen, just coming out of the system a little bit incorrectly, but a 1:44.808 is Tyrone Anderson's fastest time. That might be an outlap from him, actually. Remembering that pit exit actually comes out after turn 3, going into 4. So actually, that's pit exit there. So as you set up for turn number 4, the right-hander, you want to be on the left-hand side, and that is pit exit. That is going to be crucial later on to watch exactly what happens there.
Working our way into the back end of qualifying here. 8 minutes and 20 left to go here at the Daytona Road Course for round 5 of the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. We'll be getting into racing very shortly here, Matty. But once again, Sam Dicker is on top of the order on a 1:43.6 in qualifying.
Yeah, Kevin Norman on a flyer at the moment as he comes around to complete another lap, and not far behind him, we'll draft Kieran Ellis as well. So we'll see how these guys go. Crosses the line here, 1:44.7, which I don't think will improve his time. Kieran Ellis has a bit to go though, 11. I don't think 1:42 is right. That doesn't sound right. 1:46 as it resets itself there. So Kieran Ellis stays in 11 as we get some more cars coming across. Neil Woodburn's just crossing the line here as well. Just checking that time. Looks like the timing system in the overlay is just a little bit of a delay on that one. Well, you can see him up on the left-hand side though. We do check him out as they go around. Sam Dicker just sitting up there, and you know he's leading Paul Mansell by 0.183 of a second. So he's got nearly 2 tenths. Paul Mansell's going to have to get out there, and he actually is out on. Here we go. This is the one to watch. He's not going to like being in second. I know. He's been chasing car setup all week, wanting them. He's been wanting to practice this track. The injector's online. Lamborghini currently sitting in second, and the only Lamborghini in the top 10. We'll wait and see how he goes.
He's only got just under 7 minutes to get something done here if he wants to have a chat about Sam Dicker out front. And you've got to deal with a bit of traffic here as well, as you can see him coming up onto the back of one of the BMWs just ahead on track. You've got to really time your run. Make sure you've got some clean air in front of you, or at least get the advantage of the toe in the right places of the track here at Daytona.
Well, we might head back to Sam Dicker because he's actually on an outlap. So Paul Mansell's going to have to get that car up to speed to get a flying lap in as we go back to Sam Dicker, who's currently sitting 1. This might be an outlap for him too, judging by the time so far. So Paul Mansell, just having a look up on screen where the number 5 is actually placed on track. He could be on a flying lap now, actually. It's going to be interesting tonight. Paul Mansell, number 5. Scott Stevens is 0.5.
It's going to be hard to follow. At least we can pick the difference here between the Mansell and the Lamborghini.
Here we go. Paul Mansell now is on a flying lap. So this is going to be the one to watch. Let's have a look at him as he goes through this one. He'll be looking to take as much curb as possible without getting in trouble. So this is his flying out lap there, so don't worry about that time. This is the time we need to start recording. He needs to beat a 1:43.674. He's done a 1:43.857. He's got, he's got 0.0183 of a second to equal Sam Dicker's time. So he's pretty much going to go 2 tenths of a second faster.
That's a big ask. It's a real big ask against the likes of Sam Dicker.
I think it's a big ask too when you think, you know, a majority of the competitors are in the 1:44, 1:45. So to run a 1:43, you're already, you know, in that elite group of the drivers out there at the moment. So,
but he is one of the 3 drivers up at the pointy end who carried that A-grade license. There's only a few of them as well. Mason Harvey and Fitzroy Beaumont, along with Gianni Lutzu, the other 2 drivers to carry the A-grade license under iRacing's regime into this race.
Yeah, Scott Stevens, a new competitor too, so obviously a seasoned iRacer.
Yeah, I believe he runs in a bit of the Aussie mixed and fixed in the Turbo Car series through iRacing on a regular basis, but it's good to have him into the GT3 E series and just mix it up a little between the young karters and the seasoned iRacers, and of course Sam Dicker in the field.
Here we go, Paul Mansell going through the bus stop. Just looking to see if I see any off tracks, because that will null and void his lap. That's the problem. You got to worry about that. I haven't seen anything come up on the screen as yet. That's good. We like to see. Here we go. Coming around to complete this lap. Can he do it? He's only going to have time to do one more lap after. No, he comes in the pits.
Decided it wasn't enough.
Yeah, maybe. I would have thought he would have stayed out there and try and keep the momentum going. Let's have a look at Neil Woodburn a bit further down. He's currently sitting in 10th position. So this is on the bump at the moment for the top 10. This is Neil Woodburn, who's done a 1:45.08. So the first of the cars outside of the 1:44. And sitting in 10th position on the bump stop for the top 10. I know we've got an endurance coming up later in the season. Maybe we can talk the boys into a top 10 shootout.
I reckon we have to give something like that a go. It'd be very cool to see who can really turn it on for a single flying lap at Bathurst as well. That'd be really cool.
I think you got to just come over the mountain. It's pretty hairy there, and there's going to be a lot of guys that if they push are going to reach those out of bounds too. So that's going to be interesting. As Woodburn gets around.
I guess across Skyline, don't you? You get the out of bounds up there as well.
Yeah, so that's the interesting part. So Woodburn doesn't increase. Kieran Ellis just out 11 in the Lambo, just sitting it out. Toucan Timmy, all I see is off track, off track, off track for him. He's 3 cans in. That's the problem. It's 3 cam Timmy. That's
He's gone too deep.
You got to find the right ratio, Timmy. It's like when you go drag racing, you got to find the right ratio of coffee to sugar. So you don't cut a cherry, but you also get the right time, not too slow. And I think that's the same here with the iRacing. Is it 1 can, 2 can, or 3 cans?
If he's recording that many off tracks, you'd have to start to ask the quantity, wouldn't you?
Where's Mark Peck? He's back down there, sitting in 20th with his mate Shane Ewens. What are these guys doing? Let's bring him up. The Territory Iced Coffee, Territory Boy. Been doing quite a few other series as well. I know he has been in the AOSC series having a go. Someone in the background just spinning out. I'm just trying to have a look at who's on the 78. That looks like it is 25, which is Peter Hurd. that was epic in the background. So Shane Ewens will come around and complete the lap. He's done a 1:47.799 and just does a 1:48.89. He can't beat that time, will remain in 21st. Mark Peck can't be too far away from completing a lap in this. Well, it's almost like he's wearing some sort of outfit on that car with the livery not loading up. Normally he's in the black leather. He's stripped down and got the stripes out this week. 1:47.124 does not increase his, does not beat his 1:46 he ran earlier, so he's not too far off the pace though.
Now Sam Dicker's slowed right down as well. He's down to the 202, so he must have gone into the pits and taken a breather. Might be going out for one final tilt at it. Is Noah Lyle. Noah's rocking the Ferrari this time around, so it's a bit different to see from young Noah. Decided to go at it with the Ferrari, one of the rarer cars to be used in the E-Series thus far, although it's got more numbers in the field than the Lamborghini does this time around.
Is he rocking the half the P2B setup? Oh, a bit of contact there from the boys down the back. They get on the banking. Trying to give Noah a bit of a run here. That might be 1:45.329.
Ooh.
So he actually moved up into 10th. So he's actually just gone past Neil Woodburn to take out the top 10. Mason
you can see he got on the
guest, 16 seconds.
He got on the brakes just after crossing the line there, and Sebastian was still on a flyer and just came carving through, trying to dodge the stopping cars. Be careful of that, guys. If you're stopping at the end of the lap, be very careful that other people are still on flyers behind you.
Well, that's the checkered flag. They're going to get a couple of minutes to complete this one lap that they're on, and I'm just looking up here to see exactly what's happened because Paul Mansell is on his last chance to get in number 1. He's currently sitting in second. He is 0.183 of a second behind Sam Dicker in second position, but he gets to complete this lap in qualifying before we head into the big race. 1 hour here at Daytona Road. Here we go. We're all waiting.
Pit lane. He's going straight for
He's
the
done
pit
it.
lane
He's
again.
done it again. Oh my God, what's he
We
doing?
were waiting for that big one as well, hoping for a big climatic finish to qualifying, and he's snatched it out from underneath us, decided not even to complete the lap.
He's really not helping the commentators. I'll be sternly messaging him after this race. Ticket Timmy ends up in 14th. Just having a look there to see what he did. A 145.645. But he's best on 145.17. So I think that is going to round out our qualifying at the moment, though. As you can see the standings there on the left-hand side. So we'll get a minute there so we can reset everything out there and have a look. So let's head through our qualifying, as I do believe the checkered flag is completely out. A couple of cars still out there at the moment. But our qualifying results, let's have a look at those. Sam Dicker up there in the BMW, of course. So the new BMW M4, car number 72, takes out the win there. And it's the qualifying, I should say, number 1, a 143.674. Paul Mansell behind him. As you can see the difference there, less than 0.2 of a second. Then he goes back to Kevin Norman, the teammate. Scott Stevens ends up in 4th. Eli Tunstall in 5th. Caleb Sumich in 6th. Tyrone Anderson makes it to 7. It could be a chance for us to play Get on the Beers tonight. Mason Harvey in 8. Sebastian Guest in 9. And Fitzroy Beaumont, did he squeeze in there in the 10 last lap there? 145.003, the first of the 145s. Let's go back to 11. Noah Lyle in the Ferrari. Then it's Neil Woodburn, Kieran Ellis in 13, Timmy Nicol in 14, Nathan Norman 15, Edward Mitchell 16, Craig Spencer, he will not be happy about that one again to be that far back. Dylan Sates in 18, Mark Peck in 19, Peter B will round out our top 20, and then we go back to Shane Newens and Peter Hurd, Gianna Lutzu, Josh Drage. I think Josh might be logged in as one of our administrators actually, so I don't think those guys are racing tonight. They have not set a time. So that is where our qualifying, our top 10 there right now up on screen. So we cannot be far away from getting underway as we try to find our people setting themselves up on the grid now. 1 hour to race. Just have a look at the race preview while we look at this one. If you want to run us through that one, Chris.
Yeah, we were going around Daytona International Speedway. The road course, of course, 5.72 kilometers, lapping in the 143s as a quick lap we can put in. Topping out some very quick average speeds around this track here. We're touching up to close to 200 kilometers per hour on average speed around the road course here. Of course, it's very fast, barring the infield. It's a 1 hour race, lots of work to do. There will be a safety car during this race. Call it a competition caution if you want to go to our Yank Tanks over the pond, and we will see that safety car maybe come out around the midway point in the race to just even things up and reignite the fire in the race. But this race is going to be very, very tight, and it may be decided in these opening couple of laps when we approach the infield here, Matt.
So as they start to get themselves out of the pitch, just another recap on the starting grid. Sam Dicker alongside Paul Mansell. Sam Dicker will be the number 1 on the inside. Then we Kevin Norman and Scott Stevens on row 2. Eli Tunstall and Caleb Sumich on row 3. Row 4 will be Tyrone Anderson and Mason Harvey. Row 5, Sebastian Guest and Fitzroy Beaumont. 6 will be Noah Lyle and Neil Woodburn. Row 7, Kieran Ellis and Tim Nicol. Row 8, Nathan Norman and Edward Mitchell. Craig Spencer and Dylan Sates in the 9th row. And the 10th row will be Mark Peck and Peter B alongside each other. And round out the last couple of rows. Row number 11 will be Shane Newens alongside Peter Hurd and Gianni Litsu alongside Josh. I don't know if Josh is in there. I think he's the admin. And Gianni Litsu did not get a time despite having that impressive number 2 finish in our last outing at Watkins Glen. So it looks like they are all on there. I'm wondering whether we're going to get a rolling start here maybe.
Well, I see a safety car on the starting grid, so that should give us a bit of a hint there, as we might see the rolling start here at Daytona, which is pretty standard when it comes to GT3 racing. And we're actually lined up on the back straight just before the bus stop, it looks like.
Yeah, lined up there, as you can see. All of them all lined up. Getting a bit excited, aren't they?
Oh, the nerves would be real high right now. Everyone's bunched up close together, and a rolling start, even with taking away the anticipation of needing to watch that light, you really got to be careful about the other cars around you in such an early stage of a 1 hour long race. It can come undone so quickly into the tighter sections of the racetrack here at Daytona.
All right, we start to roll now. Let's see if we see some positions come up on track. Here we go. It's all about to get underway. The main race, 1 hour. We're going to get approximately 32 laps. On the top of the grid, it's going to be Sam Dicker and Paul Mansell alongside. The rivalry will continue. 1 and 2 in the championship. Paul Mansell's taking that lead over Sam Dicker after the last round where Dicker was away. He was absent from the race.
He'll be looking to make amends here. In round 5 of the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series, of course, we do have a drop round, so if Sam can stay at the pointy end, he will be covered by that. But at the moment, sitting a long way behind in the point standings without counting the drop. He wants to see if he can climb his way back up the order. And Paul Mansell doing a great job with the Lamborghini, the only one inside the top 10, as you mentioned before, Maddie. Be interesting to see how he makes that work over the next hour of racing here at Daytona International Raceway.
Yeah, and my timing screen is actually saying session state change to parade laps. So it looks like we are going to get a parade lap, a full flying parade lap here. This will be interesting to watch. Get around, looks like the start's about to go. Paul Mansell with a big run on the outside now as we go green.
Sam dips down to the apron, the bottom of the speedway, looking to the inside, but Mansell sneaks the lead at the start. Dicker into second, Kevin Norman into third as they dip into the road course for the first time. Oh, no! That was a Great Northern Audi sideways across the track and getting cleaned up by the field further back there.
Where has he gone? Oh, he's gone too far back. I can't find him. Here we go.
Oh, my goodness. There is carnage everywhere here, Matty.
There we go. We'll go right back to the replay here because this one's going to be interesting.
Just touch on the grass there.
He gets on the grass. Oh, look, and he comes together with everyone. That's unfortunate for him.
Cleans up one of the, I think that was the Energy Ferrari entries, along with Sebastian Guest as well. That's really got to hurt. But look at this. Dicker is really pouring the pressure on Paul Mansell in the early stages as they make the run towards turn 7 and hit the speedway for the first time.
Check it out here, the front of Sam Dicker's car chasing down Paul Mansell. He'll be trying to get right under that wing. Try and draft him around here on the banking. It'll go to the flatter section and then they're going to turn into the bus stop. And will he make a move here under brakes?
Speed. This huge speed advantage he has getting in the toe of Paul Mansell. Has to pull it up under brakes at the bus stop though.
Yeah, Mansell gives him some room though. That's good to see. You see the handling though, the Lambo there. Can hold that bus up a little bit tighter to try and get the run out. But the aero on the BMW, phenomenal.
I don't know whether it was just the aero of the BMW or purely being in the toe of Paul Mansell. I mean, a Lamborghini's pretty aerodynamic as they are, but you can see Paul is in the toe now as they wrap back around through turns 12 and 13 on the run to the front stretch. You can see him closing. This is going to be a race of drafting in the speedway sections here, Matty.
Well, this is going to be interesting to see what they do with the pit stops because everyone's going to have to pit once. They're not going to make the full 32-odd laps. They're going to have to get one pit in. My assumption will be they'll get about, they can probably come in from about a lap 7 or 8 maybe to complete this session if they want to pit early. But with the drafting, I mean, what do? Do you stay in the pack and try and make your assault at the end of the race on the lead, or do you try and get some clean air and try and make sure no one can draft you? Because that could disadvantage you really if you've got some faster cars. If you can draft them and stay with them, you stay in that lead pack.
It's going to be very tight. And that caution as well, the safety car that we are due to see over some point in the next hour of racing will definitely throw the cat amongst the pigeons. It could bring an early incident driver back into the fray if they're able to close the gap and get back into that aerodynamic toe and have a run towards the front in the back stages of the race. But at the moment, Sam Dicker is starting to skip away here. Look at the gap he's built, and he's now broken the toe of Paul Mansell. So Paul's going to have to really contend with Kevin Norman further behind.
It's interesting. You just see him go up on the bank and there. Look at him come through. They run around close to that wall as they head into the bus stop, and you can see them all pulling through. But coming up on the back, like you say, Kevin Norman starting to make a charge onto Paul Mansell, and Scott Stevens ready to pounce in the 0.5. It's going to be interesting to see if we have the 5 and the 0.5 side by side out there.
Sure, they will make it happen. Daytona road course at night under lights is a fantastic spectacle, and it's so cool we can have this in iRacing. Beautiful graphic representation of the world center of motorsports, self-proclaimed, of course. It is one of the great racing circuits on the planet. And look at how close they bunch up under brakes into turns 1 and 2. That is super tight there.
Yeah, and still plenty going on down the field. I mean, really, it's Kevin Norman and Paul Mansell at the moment. Look at this one, but Paul Mansell right up on the back now. Don't think he's going to get close because Dicker is going to get the drive out of this one. Paul Mansell just seems to really catch up to him on the back half of the track. Mark Peck is in the pit lane actually at the moment, so I don't know what he's doing. He's
might have been one of those guys caught up on the opening lap incident.
He's in there having a spar. He's in there having a spa break. It's too hot for him. Probably eating an ice cream in the spa, cooling down in his cool suit.
It doesn't sound too bad right now. I could go on ice cream. That'd be nice.
Oh, so this is your top four at the moment. Scott Stevens we're on board with at the moment. Just looking down in front, you can see Kevin Norman, Paul Mansell and Sam Dicker leading this race. We're only a couple of laps in two. Only got a couple of laps down so far. Just completed 2 laps, coming around to complete our 3rd lap now. And we've got 1 hour, approximately 32 laps. We know there'll probably be a safety caution at some point. We head down the back through the bus stop again. That's through turns number 9, 10 and 11. So careful on the throttle there, aren't you? You don't want to over-accelerate and just buzz those tyres, because you get loose and touch that grass and you're going to spin the car around very quickly.
On the flip side, you've got to be so careful to get on the power as smooth and as early as you can, because a late application of the throttle or a little moment getting the car sideways and having to pause your throttle application to gather it up is really going to hurt your straight line speed, and you'll give away the toe. As you can see here, Scott Stevens is broken away as we follow Caleb Sumich at the moment. He's battling it out. Fitzroy Beaumont going side by side on the run out of the front stretch, and they're going to go side by side into turns 1 and 2 as well. Great battle there for 6th and 7th on the road.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. That actually looks like a car down in front of them. I don't think that's in the battle pack. I'm trying to grab a number off the side, because just having a look up on screen, I think that is an out of sequence car, because Eli Tunstall is in front, but my gap is showing him way out in front at the moment. Oh no, it is Eli Tunstall.
Yeah, he's right there with them as well. Currently sitting in 5th. They're a long way behind your lead pack at the moment. Talking 5.2 seconds off the back of Scotty Stevens. But that is Eli in the flat-out karts BMW M4 entry. Just holding off the back of the hard-charging Ferrari.
Well, this is your battle here for 5, isn't it, at the moment? So it's a battle for 5, 6, and... Well, battle for position 5. You can see 6 and 7 in the background. And then we go back to Neil Woodburn, who is in 8. And behind him, you can see 9, Nathan Norman, and Kieran Ellis. He is a fair bit back as well. So there's plenty going on. Sam Dicker still under a bit of pressure at the front as we head back to him in the flat-out karts entry. The injectors online, Paul Mansell just staying with him, getting into the groove, I think. Got to find that muscle memory as you get around the Daytona track. Getting comfortable with the banking and trying to get some drafting. And Sam Dicker looks like he's doing a good job of just staying far enough in front that he can't take full advantage of that one. So go Sam Dicker, Paul Mansell, Kevin Norman, Scott Stevens, your top 4, and they're almost there. They go. They're all in one shot.
Super tight at the pointy end so far, with over 52 minutes of racing left to come. Such early days here at Daytona on the road course, and we can see lap traffic is going to start playing already as we watch cars coming in and out. They're not far off coming around and putting a lap on some of our drivers further back in the field. Even with a 22 car field, 5.7 Ks can be closed up pretty quick here.
Yeah, they are moving around the track at the moment. They come down to turn number 6, a big hairpin under brakes. This one's going to be interesting though. We need to watch this one. This is where they come unstuck as they go into turn number 7. We've seen a lot of braking go wrong here as they get the big left-hander, sorry, as they head back onto the banking. Everyone here just under brakes. Looks like they're all going to get through the top 4 at the moment. This is where the race is really on. Looks like Mark Peck has joined us back. We've got to give him some time on the screen, don't we? Look at him.
If he loaded up his livery, it would be better.
It'd be fantastic. He just feels like he's naked there. He's hopped out of the spa and forgot to put his clothes on. That's what it feels like. Kieran Ellis and Mr. Anime puts a new livery on for us again this week. Currently sitting in 9th position, as you can see up there on the screen. He's just got a little bit of a gap over Mason Harvey and Eli Tunstall. Another one to watch, which I'm just trying to see where Craig Spencer has ended up, because he started out as 17th. So he's up a few positions. He'll be happy about that, but probably not the qualifying start he wanted to get as he comes up on the back of the Italian Stallion, Peter B. But Sebastian Guest also behind him. He might have been involved in that incident too early on, I think, because I'm not quite sure if it was him. He's running the same livery as his teammate. But Sebastian Guest was caught up in that. Yeah,
Sebastian was well and truly caught in that one after the Audi. Was it Shane Ewens getting caught up there and just touched the grass and spun it in front of the field?
So it's good to see. This battle now is actually for position number 13. Craig Spencer just caught in the middle of this pack, and here you go. He's going to do a move on the outside. I don't know if he's going to get it done.
It's going to be tight, and Peter B runs it deep under brakes into turn 1. And that brings Craig to try and have a crack alongside as they go through the chicane section at 2-3. And then the run down towards turn 4. Craig fires up the inside.
Sebastian Guest now gets the opportunity. You look at this. Spencer runs wide. Peter B doesn't know what's going on. Sebastian Guest puts his nose in there, but they all end up back in the same position as they started at the start of the lap.
Craig has to be very careful here not to tag the back end of Peter B and bring them all unstuck. And Sebastian will be pretty keen to get amongst it here, but he's waiting for Craig to have his turn as he fires to the inside again. This is out of turn 6 on the run towards 7. Now Craig has it done. I wonder whether Sebastian can pick up some pace here and have a run at Peter B as they enter the oval section out of turn 8.
Yeah, he didn't quite get under the back wing there, did he? Really needed to chase him through there and use that drafting. Hey, Eli. I was hoping he was going to be in front of Eli. That might have been why he had that on the back of the car.
I mean, either that or when he goes a lap down, if he goes a lap down, he'll be saying hello. Rocking the Ricardo kart stickers on. It's good to see the Guesty boys bring it in. Oh, no, Peter B.
Instant replay
grabs
there
the wall.
for Peter B. Oh, he's heading down the track. I've got to get this one. This is an instant replay. Just hits the wheels on the grass. He's got 3 wheels on the grass, and that is unfortunate for him. Let's see where he's ended up. He's gone back into 18th position. He's back on track. Maybe he's gone together with Toucan Timmy as well. That's unfortunate for him. So these guys are now going to get to battle it out. And that's Craig Spencer and Sebastian Guest for position number 13 up on screen. But he's got a little bit of a lead at the moment over everyone. Head back to the leaders of the race, though. Sam Dicker still leading over Paul Mansell and Kevin Norman. Scott Stevens looks like he's dropped back just a little bit now off the pace.
Falling behind just a little bit. Paul Mansell is staying right in touch at the moment. The same for Kevin Norman right there as they're broken away. You can see the gap there back to Scott Stevens in 4th. He's still in touch, and he'll still be well there when we come to pit stops and the caution time at some point during the race. We have still 48.5 minutes left to go here. Round 5 of the FLATOUT Karts GT3 E-Series. It's interesting to note here, Maddie, that aerodynamic toe as they hit the high-speed sections, not really as noticeable. Now we've broken them away a little bit, and they're not really tucked under each other.
Also just noticing we've got a few people in the pits. Dylan Sates is in the pits. Also Tyrone Anderson's in there, our Great Northern man. He's just coming out now. So already some pit stops happening. I'm also having a look. Sebastian Guest has pulled in now, so that's another interesting one to see at him. So he's just entered pit lane, has he? No, he's actually coming out. This is that exit we spoke about. Luckily no traffic there. So Guest taking an early one. Tyrone Anderson also coming out behind him in the Great Northern in the wagon. Is that what we're going to call it, the wagon?
May as well.
Dylan Sates, he's not going to show up. It's Mark Peck, and he's done a pit stop as well. Plenty of damage on for him. He's a damaged man. He's a very damaged man as we head back to our leaders. And it looks like we've got Paul Mansell. Is he in the pit lane? So Paul Mansell now takes the pits.
Wow, that's a very early stop there. As you can see, Paul sitting in the pit lane, waiting his service. I'm actually trying to just reload my timing screen so I can see that happening. So Dicker and Norman have taken over the top 2 spots as Paul Mansell pulls it into pit lane. He is going to fall well down the order. Slowly ticking away in the pit lane. He's taking quite a long one as well.
Yeah,
been sitting there for a little bit.
I'm just having a look. Sebastian Guest went 40 seconds. 30 seconds for Tyrone Anderson. 36.7 for Paul Mansell. He's on the money. So the first of our real leaders to take it. So this is interesting. So Kevin Norman now is following down his teammate Sam Dicker. This is 1 and 2. But we did say they probably could come in from about lap 7. And guess what lap we have completed? Lap 7.
Bang on it. Getting it done early.
I must have done a few of these iRacing games before now. Like, I don't know. Maybe I...
You've picked it up, Matty. Well done.
It's taken me a year, but we're there.
Well, it's interesting to keep an eye on Paul Mansell's pit time here. It was 36.7 seconds in the stop, 56.6 to complete the full pit lane. And it's going to be interesting to see now when Sam and Kevin decide to pull it into the pits as they come around onto the front stretch.
Great crowd here tonight at Daytona. It's perfect under lights. Come on.
Absolutely packed.
Oh, gets loose under brakes. It almost looked like Kevin was going to take a dive there. He didn't have it. I think he just didn't pull it up in time and takes him off the race line. And bit of a reprieve now for Sam Dicker as he opens that gap up. But I reckon they're going to come in for... They've decided not to pit, though. They've stayed out.
They've gone by for another one.
Interesting.
It's one of the things, though, racing at night at any circuit, let alone racing in the simulators as well, you lose your brake markers. And you've got to kind of relearn the racetrack. When it comes to racing at night, you get close to the car in front of you. And the brake markers are that much harder to see. And you're going to find yourself in trouble. And I think that caught out Kevin Norman there, as he was a bit closer to Sam than he had been before. Outbraked himself a little bit at turn 1 and 2 and gave away some time.
So Scott Stevens up on your screen in 3rd position at the moment. Just a little bit back from our leaders. He stayed out. He has not pitted either. So in 3rd position. As we can see, everyone pretty much, it's our top 5 have not come in. So Sam Dicker, Kevin Norman, Scott Stevens, Nathan Norman and Neil Woodburn are the 5 cars that have not come into the pits so far. It's Noah Lyle just behind him, so that is actually now a lap down for Noah Lyle, and Kieran Ellis can't be far away either. A lot of different time changes here. There must be either some repairs going on or people have not done their crew chief, because a lot of 1-minute pit stops.
Yeah, some very long stops there, right?
Yes, that's
if you haven't turned the tyres off, it'll immediately bump your time right out there as well.
Yeah, and we'd keep reminding people that if you don't, the tyres don't, like a supercar, they don't change them at the same time. They'll change them separately. Here we go, Sam Dicker in the pits. Let's have a look at the pit stop time. It was Paul Mansell was the man. Scott Stevens stayed out there. Kevin Norman's also come into the pits. So it's to be very interesting to see. Sam Dicker, though, needs to... Paul Mansell did a 36.7. His pit lane time was 56.6, but his actual stop time was 36.7. Right at the front too. Yeah, let's check this one out. We're going to stay with this one because it's going to be interesting.
Counting out the time, it rounds out 15 seconds in the stop so far. He's still got another 20 seconds to go before he will leave the pit lane in the same amount of time that Paul Mansell has been in the stop.
So 36.7, that is the time. 36.7, yes. 36.7. Paul Mansell's now coming around. Going to check out where Paul Mansell is. Oh, he's coming around. He's coming around. Sam Dicker taking a lot of fuel.
Yeah, he's gone outside 40 seconds plus there in the stop. Kevin Norman behind him as well.
Have they taken
tyres?
And
they've given it away.
They've taken tyres for sure. They have to have taken tyres. I don't know what's going on.
That could be the kicker right there.
So Paul Mansell now will be your effective team leader, really. Scott Stevens, the only one not to pit in the entire field, and he will have to come in at some point. 9 laps completed. Paul Mansell, your effective leader, currently sitting in 2nd position, though.
Knowing that we have a caution coming at some point in the race, though, Matty, they could have just decided, you know what, we'll take tyres anyway and at least have a little bit fresher rubber. I know it doesn't make a huge difference in these cars because the tyres last so long in these GT3 cars, but could be just a little bit of a play there going, you know what, we'll give them a bit of breathing space, we'll take the tyres, and when we get the caution, we'll bring it back and close up the gap anyway.
Well, the risk is, though, you get yourself in traffic, don't you? As it looks like he's going past Caleb Summich now, so he's already made up a position. He came out in 7th, moved up to 6th. Craig Spencer's right behind him, so he's actually done really well out of this to end up in 8th, especially seeing he's already had his pit stop, and he was quite short, 33.9. So splash and dash for him to go at Craig Spencer there. So now he gets a chance to put a little bit of pressure on after that number 17 start. He won't be happy with qualifying once again. We'll hear him on Discord a little bit later expressing his disgust. So Paul Mansell comes around. So having a look up on our map to see where he is. He's coming around the big turn, number 12, to head onto the start-finish line. And Scott Stevens, who's your race leader at the moment, in the pits. And he is up to 33 seconds on this pit stop. Just waiting to see if Paul Mansell will take the lead. Yes, he will. Off track at the moment too from Caleb Summich, so he's under a bit of fire there as they start to go through. So Paul Mansell now takes the lead of this race. He's having a look. Scott Stevens ends up 40 seconds in the pit. So as he rejoins the race. So that's a good one for Paul Mansell. He's done well with the undercut there on that. Sam
Nicely
Dicker
done.
in 6th position now. Let's see, he's working his way back up. Craig Spencer in 7th. Good comeback from Craig, getting back in the top 10. And Kevin Norman behind now, and Sebastian Guest right behind him. We'll put a bit of pressure on there, especially in tuck up under that wing. Of course, the Audi. And they go through. Eli Tunstall drops back. He must, he's in pit lane at the moment, Eli Tunstall. So he's already had a pit though, so maybe he's going back in for some repairs. A lot of grass there. You can see the dust kicked up there with Sebastian Guest in the background.
Interesting to note as well, Craig Spencer made up quite a bit of time in the pit stop. He went 33.9 in the stop, which is, I think, the shortest, one of the shortest. Caleb Simic was quicker with 32.7. One of the shortest pit stops with 54 seconds to traverse the pit lane. And that's what helped him a lot here, is a lot of guys have gone for the full duration and taking tyres and fuel out to the 1:20 mark in the pit lane. Craig was only 54 seconds, and that's allowed him to close up into P6 thus far. And that'll put him in a good standing as well when we come to that caution. He'll be bunched up and ready to pounce on the traffic ahead of him.
As they come around the big banking now. So that is turn number 8, heading down towards the bus stop. Big speed just in front. Just trying to see who that is in front. Looks like that might be Craig Spencer in front. So a little bit of a gap to Craig Spencer. He's trying to hold that out as they head through the bus stop. As you can see, right up in the front there, though, far up. Craig Spencer there, but it's actually Sam Dicker just in front, opening up that huge gap at the moment. You can see that. Craig Spencer was right behind him, so that's a big move. He's putting the charge on. I think fresh tyres are definitely on that car, and he is now in 5th position. So chasing Paul Mansell down.
We're checking the lap speed as we follow that along at the moment. Last time across 144.04, that's his best actually. 144.49 for Sam, 145.81 for Paul. So he's trying to put the pressure on and close up the gap. He sits a whopping 21.5 seconds behind the race leader, Paul Mansell. So he's got a lot of work to do, but we do keep continuing to wait for that caution to come out. 38 and 55 left to go in this race here for round 5 of the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series.
And this is a little battle now for 3rd position. Mason Harvey just leading Fitzroy Beaumont in the Azure Autosports entry. And Beaumont using as much of the curb, well, more grass than curb at that point. He's going to have to be careful with that. He won't get enough drive off the corners if he does that too much. And too many incident points will get you a penalty after the race too. So they do rack up. You need to be very cautious of that. Now he's going to need to get under that draft. This is the battle for position number 3 to get on the podium. Still got 38 minutes left in this race. We are 11 laps in. We know there'll be a competition caution at some point. So we're expecting around about 30 to 33 laps, depending on the caution, how long they're out there for. Here we go, big move now from Beaumont under brakes.
It's a big move. You can see him coming and coming and coming through the bank section. They're going to go side by side at the bus stop. Ah, no, Fitzroy loses it at the bus stop. We'll watch that again. Mason Harvey just said, you know what, I'm going to go with you. We're going to go too wide. And now, did they touch? Doesn't look like it. Could have been a little net code there. But Fitzroy Beaumont goes around, and it looked like a very sudden loss of the rear end as Mason Harvey was up over the curb.
No, I think we just head that back. No, I don't know. I think the guys have actually just given each other a little bit of racing room there, and maybe. Don't know if we can. I'm going to try and get that again because
it's so hard to tell sometimes, Matty, with the net code that we have, especially with Australian internet. We're lucky we have pretty decent internet, but on the international scale, especially when it comes to iRacing, we're actually not too great and pretty bad offenders when it comes to net code issues.
Don't even start me with my ISP at the moment, so off the table, off the table. As you can see, that's put Fitzroy Beaumont back in 9th, so he was battling out for 3rd, pushed back to 9th. Like there's contact there. I don't think it was anything concerning, to be quite honest. Tyrone Anderson just in front in 8th now, and he's not going to make it easy for Fitzroy Beaumont to get by, even though Beaumont seems to have the pace, actually. He looked like he was probably going to get past Mason Harvey. The Ferrari's going all right tonight. Paul Mansell still leading this race at the moment.
Fitzroy Beaumont starting to put some pressure on as he looked to the inside as they make the run across. He dives back across to the inside again at the run through turn 5.
I wonder whether Tyrone Anderson has his relative on, because he definitely was going to turn down then. I don't think he thought there was a challenge on. Look at him just pull away, though. Look at him pull away.
Yeah, so he's just bugging out of there, isn't he?
So Fitzroy Beaumont now in 8th position, was up in 4th earlier. Sam Dicker now makes his way back up into 4th, so he's chasing down to get himself in the top 3. Mason Harvey, well, look how close he is to Mason Harvey already. That was quite a big gap before.
Really closing that one up. And Sam is putting the hurt on the gap to the lead as well, still lapping almost a second faster per lap here. He's brought the gap right back to 20-odd seconds as he tries to go around the outside of Mason, gather it up under brakes though as he drives all the way across the racetrack to pick it up. Sam, last time across, was 0.6 of a second quicker than Paul Mansell and has brought the gap down to just over 20 seconds at the click of the last lap. Picks up the spot from Mason Harvey, and Dicker is back on the podium here with the BMW.
And the thing is, he doesn't need to do everything, does he? He doesn't need to catch Paul Mansell at this point. What he needs to do is just get into second position and hope for that competition caution. It has come every race. We've had a competition caution. We're almost halfway through this 1 hour race. Every race we've had a competition caution. If he can get back into second place, it does not matter how far out in front Paul Mansell is. He will get another chance to get right under the back of Paul Mansell. And you know, Mansell's probably already thinking about that, maybe conserving some fuel, conserving some tyres, because he definitely did not take tyres on in that pit stop. But if Sam didn't get back in a second, if we have a competition caution, he'll be right on the back wing of Paul Mansell and willing to strike, you know, ready to go for it again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when this caution comes on out. We have 34.5 minutes left to go here in round 5 of the E-Series for Flat Out Karts. Also brought to you by Direct Industries and Arise Racing, supporting the cause and putting on some awesome E-Series racing on your Sunday night entertainment while we're all in post-lockdown Perth City at the moment.
And the way to get over post-lockdown is to lock yourself in your sim room.
Absolutely. If I had one, I would.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's. I know your pain. I haven't had a chance to get on and try this track out, actually. I really wanted to have a few laps of this with the banking. As
I think one of the upcoming rounds, I'm actually going to go do the broadcast from Racecraft Simulations and go jump in and do some driving myself.
Why not? Why not? As Sebastian Guest now putting all that pressure onto Craig Spencer. So Sebastian Guest sitting in 7th, 6th position just in front of Craig Spencer. He just shows him the nose, puts the lights in his side mirrors. Not going to get it done. And is that a Mr. Kevin Norman just in front? I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, he's only a couple of seconds in front. So Kevin Norman just, you see slight glimpses of him. You see him just up there.
A couple of seconds up the road as well.
Craig Spencer getting a little bit defensive there, I think, on his line, trying to keep Sebastian Guest out from just taking that dive down the inside. Has a look again as they go to turn 7. Look at the drive, though, Craig Spencer gets, doesn't he?
Yeah, running that wider line, you can really open up the racetrack. But does it help him here as Sebastian tries to tuck into the toe as they wrap around the back end of the circuit through 8 and 9 on the run down the back straight into the bus stop at 10. It looks like he's staying in touch, but not really making up ground in the toe at the moment.
I tell you what, the bright colours do look good as they go under the lights, doesn't it?
They do look great under lights, and it's cool to have here. It's a unique spectacle of racing here at Daytona that we get to go on the road course under lights. I was a bit worried we weren't going to see too much of the liveries, but it's lit up enough that we can have it, and it's put on a great race so far.
Just going to head back to position number 14 now, because it's Woodburn and Kieran Ellis having a little bit of a battle here, and Ellis holds on to position 13 at the moment, but not for long if Woodburn gets his way. All over the back of Ellis, and you know, there's only a few tenths of a second in this one. You see him go by the Animate Up Lamborghini. He's there's only 3 Lamborghinis in the race tonight. He's currently the second fastest in 13th position, Kieran Ellis.
I mean, nobody's going to touch up Paul Mansell with the pace that he's had in that Injectors Online entry. He's been on fire with the Lamborghini, proving he can still get it done. Love the change of livery, though, and Kieran's really living up to what he promised us. And he'd bring out a new livery every time. He's copping some pressure from behind, though. That's 14th of Neil Woodburn, putting the hurt on him as they make the run down towards turn 3.
Where's Woodburn gone?
Yeah, he dropped off.
We might actually
He was right there, and then he dropped off.
Yeah, we might actually go back a couple of... where is Neil Woodburn ended up? I'm trying to find him in my list. Woodburn, where are you?
He was right there.
You're gonna stay
that
on
was Neil, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've gone back a little bit. That might be where I've gone wrong here. Got the slow motion going. I'm just going to have a look as he comes around, and he drops off somewhere here.
Maybe he's had a blink or a disconnect.
Yeah, it looks like netcode, doesn't it? Because I can't even see him on our screen.
No, boom, gone. On the replay,
ghost.
he's just disappeared.
The ghost.
Ah, it's unfortunate for Neil
So
as he's
he
lost
is
out. So the next
gone.
car behind there is now going to be Noah Lyle. Paul Mansell continues to lead this one out with just over 30 minutes. We're about to hit the halfway point. You're in round 5 of the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series, Matty.
Well, netcode, not good. Here we go. This is the battle now going on at the moment for 6th position. Craig Spencer, he started back in 17th. He's worked his way to 6th. Some pit stop strategy there, a short pit stop. But Sebastian Guest is saying, mate, I'm not going to give it up. I'm not going to let you take this 6th position. You've done well so far, and pushes him to the outside, holds onto his race line there, and Sebastian Guest will have to give in this time and reset himself for another charge. That position number 6. He definitely is a little bit faster than Craig Spencer, but Craig Spencer's got the elbows out, doesn't he, at the moment?
Craig is a fantastic defensive driver, and he continues to prove his worth on car placement and that. And it'd be really good to see Craig back racing on a regular basis. He's taken a bit of a break from regular competition in WA karting, but he's still very quick on a simulator, as Sebastian and Dylan, the Guesty boys, doing their racing and cutting their teeth in the junior ranks these days. Still know how to try and get it done. They wrap around. Look at the wide line there from Craig. This is where Sebastian can sense, all right, I've got a run on here. See whether we can get in the tow and close the gap.
Yeah, he has to reset this, and it might take him a lap or two to reset, really get back under that back wing, take another look at where he can do it. Here you go, though, charge on, puts the lights in the side mirror. Is it really worth doing that at that point? I mean, I know it's throwing Craig off. Look how much curb he's using, you know. One small mistake there from Craig, and Sebastian Guest is going to take full advantage of that one. And Fitzroy Beaumont is working his way back up. He got back into 8th over Tyrone Anderson quite quickly, but the gap slowly closing behind him because he is going faster than these two by about 0.8 of a second every lap. So watch out for Fitzroy Beaumont to join this battle.
Right in there. He's 3.3 seconds off the back of this as they go side by side, wrapping around turns 12 and 13 before they hit the front stretch. And they dive under brakes. Is Sebastian going to do it the hard way? Around the outside, he's got to gather it up. But Craig is going to stay on the inside now. He's got to be careful through the chicane. Little touch of the curbing there from Sebastian. And he's still on the inside on the run towards turn 4. Gets it up the inside.
Oh, big
well
cheer
done
on there for Sebastian Guest. How was that? Took the risk.
That was great.
That was a big risk.
Great bit of side-by-side driving from both of them to keep it together, though.
That could have ended very badly. Craig Spencer doing a fantastic job to try and hold as much line as he could while still giving some driving space there to Sebastian Guest. At the 45 now, looks he's already opened that lead up. He's definitely had the pace. He just hasn't had the right opportunity to make that move, and seems to be very strong in that first part of the race, especially going through turns 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 seems to be where the car is the strongest when it comes up against Craig Spencer. So moves into 6th position. Paul Mansell still the lead here. Scott Stevens holding on to 2nd.
Just keeping an eye on the times at the moment. Sam Dicker is 15.8 seconds adrift off the back of Scott Stevens as we follow him wrapping around and into turns 1 and 2 at the moment. Sam has been quietly ticking away the laps and trying to make up the time, but now he's looking pretty close to on par with your leaders Paul and Scott. 145.3 for Paul, 145.2 for Scott, 144.6 for Sam Dicker. He brings the gap down a little bit more that time by to 17.7 seconds. 27 minutes to go though, Matty. We'll be looking forward to that competition caution due to come out at some point very soon here. Oh, as I say it.
On cue. On cue. So, this is the interesting fact. Scott Stevens has been very, very fast. How good, actually, I've got to stop for a second. How good does the BMW actually sound? Sounds pretty good, actually. He is behind Paul Mansell. You can just see in front of the injectors on line Lamborghini. So, Sam Dicker will come up on the back of Scott Stevens, but now he has to get by him as well. So, I think Sam Dicker was hoping to probably grab 2nd before this competition caution came out. Doesn't mean he can't get the job done. It just means it's going to make it a little bit harder for him as competition caution comes out in the 26th minute of the race here tonight. It's round number 5 coming away from Daytona Road. Of course, we're getting a night circuit, beautiful under lights. And we're going to bunch them all back up again.
It's going to be really interesting to see what the back end of this race brings for us here. Paul Mansell has been pretty cruisy out front so far. with the Lamborghini Huracan GT3, but can he hold on to it in this last 25 minutes? As Sam Dicker, who went very long in the pit stop and gave Paul a lot of that breathing space, is now going to find himself within a chance of striking on the top two of Paul Mansell and Scott Stevens here.
Moving a look up to, looks like Mark Peck may have pulled out of this one as well. He's given in. He's gone to the spa, grabbed himself an ice cream. And he'll be living it up in there, probably getting a sauna done or something, a massage.
I'm going to shout out to my missus here, because instead of a spa and an ice cream, I've got garlic bread, and I'm going to enjoy that in the competition caution.
I wonder if our pace car's out, actually. I'm looking for our pace car. I don't think it has entered the track at this point. Maybe it's coming out now. No. There we go. Pace car is out. The Porsche. So just waiting to, as everyone will start to line up behind the pace car now.
It's going to take a while for them to all bunch up behind the pace car as well. We might lose a few minutes to this one, 2 or 3 laps at least. We may see a good 18-minute sprint to the finish here. There may be even a 15-minute sprint to the finish. It's going to be pretty tight in the back end of this one for round 5 of the GT3 E-Series.
Well, they won't be able to overtake at this point. It's just a chance to bunch up. Now, what do you do if you are Paul Mansell? You just slowly come up on the pace car, maybe get that extra lap out of it. You see him go quite wide there. He wouldn't be under full speed, so not quite sure of his reasoning for that. The quicker they bunch up, though, you say the longer they're going to have a run for the end. Now, he won't be wanting to give Sam Dicker too many laps with Scott Stevens there in between them. So I think Paul Mansell at the moment has the pace over Scott Stevens, with Paul Mansell best time of 1:43.97, a 1:44.51 though for Scott Stevens, and Sam Dicker 1:44.04. So you'd say Dicker and Paul Mansell are fairly evenly matched, and you did see the pace drop off of Sam Dicker there. Paul Mansell holding his pace very steady, knowing the chances of a competition caution were very likely. I don't think he would have been using up all of his fuel and tyres. He would be trying to conserve for as long as possible. Be interested to see how many waiver rounds we get to. Any cars that are allowed to go around and catch up that lap. There's 2 cars 1 lap down at the moment, Edward Mitchell and Neil Woodburn. Neil Woodburn unfortunately coming together in an incident before he had netcode and disappeared. He basically just ghosted us off the screen. We checked out the replay, and that's exactly what happened. He just ghosted. So let's hope that he can use this to his advantage and get back on the lead lap at the moment. He is at full pace somewhere out there on the track. I'm just trying to have a bit of a look where he is. He's just coming past the start-finish line, and the pace car is now going around turn number 12 to head towards the start-finish line. So another wave around there you can see in the background there trying to catch a lap up. So that is Edward Mitchell.
They almost cleaned up.
Yeah, that is Edward Mitchell now. He is now on the lead lap. So this is one of the great things about the competition caution is if everyone can get back on the lead lap, if they can make it around there at full pace, and they'll be pushing hard too, everyone has a chance. We know, we've seen so many cars. Mate, if we go 3 or 4 wide into turn number 1 or into turn number 6, anything could happen. Absolutely anything could happen. So, competition caution on track at the moment. If you just joined us on the broadcast, big shout out to our sponsor, of course, it is the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series on your Sunday night. Of course, broadcast by Medicav Media. Also need to shout out to the sponsors, Direct Industries, Arise Racing and Sam Dicker Motorsport for supporting this series on a Sunday night. But a short notice for this week. We did plan on coming back on the 7th of February, and then with all the race meets that have been moved around due to the current situation, there was a race meet put on tonight and then also cancelled. So we're back on track. We are going to miss next week because it is Valentine's Day, and when you want to spend this much time either 1 racing or 2 on your simulator or vice versa, depending on what is your priority, you do need to spend Valentine's Day with the wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, better half. You do need to spend it with your partner so that you still have a life.
Yeah, that's the key point right there, Matty.
I'm glad we don't have a race because that means I don't have to broadcast it, which means I've got a night off on Valentine's Day, and so I can be nice to my partner. She can have a night where I'm not on the computer all night.
Not stuck in the room, locked away for the night.
Yeah. No, I got to kick them off the internet, mate. I got to say, oi, I've got a broadcaster to get off the internet. They're stuck.
Yeah.
The children go to sleep early, and the wife has to sit in the room and watch something on her mobile phone. So if I do that on Valentine's Day, I might not be here for the next race. In saying that, though, we will get back onto it as we check out our series. Looks like we're back on in Spa on the 21st of February. Monza we go to on the 28th, and that's a great track. I've actually been there with another series recently. Oran Park on the 7th of March. So it's next weekend we have a week off. Then we've got 3 weeks in a row. Laguna Seca and Bathurst are the two to be confirmed, and of course the big enduro will be Bathurst. So that'll actually be a 3-hour race. That's going to be a huge one, and the commentators are going to try and talk the series guys into maybe doing a top 10 shootout there. We're going to try our best. Please comment if you want to see a top 10 shootout at Bathurst and enduro. Please comment. Doesn't matter where you're watching from, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Comment if you want to see a top 10 shootout at Bathurst, and we will lobby for you. We will show them the chat, everything that's happened, all the comments, and we will lobby it. Sound like a politician.
You make it sound like it's going to be a hard thing to push, but I don't reckon they'll be too hard to push there. I reckon they'll go, you know what, yeah, we'll do that. That'll be fun.
It's all to do with race control and the setup of iRacing. I do believe there are some difficulties with it. It's about releasing everyone. Race control will have to release everyone in a timed. I know I have done on a previous series, but we actually did the top 10 shootout the night before, which made it a lot easier for them to set the grid come the race. It actually worked really well, actually. It was quite exciting to watch, to have the top 10 qualifying, then a top 10 released by race control one by one. Scamo will love that. I just love putting pressure on him, making more work for him.
Poor guy sitting in the background, doing all the work to make sure everyone's looked after in these races and giving out the penalties.
He doesn't do much, mate. He doesn't do much. He goes to Hawaii and stuff. Well, he used to. Got to make him work for his money. Good old race control, ScoMo. He's going to lead us. He's got to work for it. He'll be up there in the Spa with Mark, I reckon, next week. That's what I'm hearing. Oh, safety car's in. We're on a restart on this one. Safety car has pulled in. Let's get back to the start of the race. Paul Mansell.
Here we go.
What's he going to do? He's going to hold him out. Look at Sam Dicker in the background. Already putting the nose in.
Oh, and he turned around. Scott Stevens.
Oh, no. Let's go and check that one. I'm just trying to see.
No.
We're going all the way back. I can't get back. They're moving around too much for me. So I'm going to have to try and find him.
Poking the nose in. I'll diagnose it for you, Matty. Sam poked the nose in on the apron on the run down towards turn one and tried to have a go. Scott came across and it turned him around. And that brought them both unstuck and caught up with mass traffic. That puts Craig Spencer. Can you believe it? What was he, 14th or 15th on the grid? Second at the restart of this race with 18 minutes to go. Mason Harvey third, Kevin Norman fourth, and Eli Tunstall now jumping in there. As they all switch around, that is a big game changer on the restart after the competition caution. As you can just picture Matt Kavanagh now frantically trying to see what buttons he can push. See if we can see that again.
I can tell you now that my replay has locked up, which is not good. I'm just trying to see if I can actually grab it in the incident. Here we go. This is where it's going to be. Let's check this one out there. Get on board with Sam Dicker in the incident. Check out this replay now. This is the restart, so the Manicab Media replay up on board. We're on board with Sam Dicker. See if we can get in a little bit tighter on this one. Comes down on Sam.
Oh, that's a tight one to diagnose. Both of them moved, and then they just got absolutely cleaned up by the rest of the field.
So that's unfortunate for him as we go back live. That's huge, huge. Craig Spencer's now in the lead. What happened to Craig Spencer? Did someone find a bit of nitrous for him?
Mate, he has just rocketed through that, and he found himself in prime position after the Dicker and Stevens incident on the restart. And look at him go. He's gone, you know what? Bugger qualifying inside the top half of the field. I just want to win in the last 15, 16 minutes of the race. He's put a move on Paul Mansell for the lead.
If he takes out number one tonight, I think he'll qualify worse every week.
That is awesome. And look at this. Mason Harvey's in the mix now as well, putting pressure on the two Ferrari boys, putting the squeeze on the Lamborghini out front. Kevin Norman back there in the BMW in fourth is watching on, thinking this is all going to end in tears because they are racing for it. The Ferrari's going side by side of Spencer and Harvey. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's all going on here, isn't it now? It's given Mansell the opportunity just to open up a small gap, and by small gap we mean a few tenths of a second, not a big one. Oh, look, Norman puts the nose in there and tries to charge through. Craig Spencer's dropped right off. So I don't know where his pace came from because he just went right up the field. Something maybe happened to Paul Mansell that we missed. on that one. I know he got through the carnage that happened there between Sam Dicker, as he is now got himself back up into 14. So I reckon race control will be deciphering that between Scott Stevens and Sam Dicker and seeing who else was involved. And Craig Spencer was probably the one to come out on top of that one. Unfortunately, though, he's dropped back a couple of positions, and Paul Mansell regains the lead now and gets a slight lead over Mason Harvey and Kevin Norman. So it's the second position you can see on screen at the moment. Mason Harvey
out of that one as well was Sebastian Guest in P5, Eli Tunstall P6. So Sebastian is saying hello to Eli with the riding on the back of the Audi.
I'm just going to
Fitzroy Beaumont into 7.
Head back to replay here. Fitzroy Beaumont has come up in my incident there. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. It's moved on already. Fitzroy Beaumont obviously coming together with someone. And that might be Fitzroy Beaumont battling it out down here. It says maybe just a bit of contact there on the outside. Doesn't look like anything too mischievous has happened to that. He's holding on to 7th position though. That's a good one for him to come back though, because remember he ended up back in 10th position there. He's had to fight his way back. He was up in 3rd. So big one for Fitzroy Beaumont to get himself back in that area.
Yeah, he was struggling earlier on. I think he actually got caught up in the aftermath of the Dicker and Stevens incident on the restart as well. I saw a bit of a flash of frame of the Azure Motorsports Ferrari T-bone in the side of Sam Dicker at the result of the incident down at turns 1 and 2. So good for Fitzroy to make his way back through the field. Scott Stevens recovering back to 8th behind him here. Nathan Norman at 9, Kieran Ellis, the Anime Lamborghini, rounding out your top 10 as they enter the 31 degrees of banking, wrapping around the back of the oval.
Yeah, so Scott Stevens was in 2nd on the restart and turned around and now making his way back into 8th position. So fighting hard with Sam Dicker down in 11. Now Kevin Norman's putting a bit of a move here. He is making some ground on Paul Mansell. Now, it's hard to tell with Paul because he thinks a lot when he races, I suppose. He's a very, I don't want to say thoughtful racer. He's just very aware of what's going on. He's watching his relative. He's done plenty of laps, plenty of endurance races with plenty of different drivers at different skill levels. And he will be watching exactly what's going on. Maybe he's just maintaining a pace. Maybe he's looking that he can do some fuel saving, because he came in very early, remembering he was one of the first to pit on lap number 7. So fuel could be an issue for him, whereas it definitely will not be for Kevin Norman. I don't know about Mason Harvey. Mason Harvey had a very quick pit, so there might be something going on there too. So it might be in Paul's interest to draft for a few laps maybe. We've only got 13 minutes left, minute 40 a lap. Let me do the maths. Better get the calculator out.
8 laps.
8 laps, there you go. I'm glad you're onto it.
I'm not, that's just mental math.
Well, you're doing better
I'm just
than me.
guessing at this point.
I've had a huge day and the math calculator in my head was not working.
This is going to be really tight though, because Kevin Norman's putting the pressure on here. Mason Harvey, you'd surely think he would be having to conserve fuel, because he took a really short stop in the pit lane. But he's pushing right there as well. He's in the 30s, 1.1 seconds off the race lead of this man, Paul Mansell, on screen, who would be having to conserve fuel at this point. Like you said, Matty, 12.5 minutes left to go. This could be anyone's game inside the top 5 right now.
Yeah, definitely could as we look out the back of Paul Mansell's car. Look how close Kevin Norman is at the moment. But under brakes, Paul Mansell managing to put that Lamborghini deep in there before he goes into the bus stop. How late is the braking compared to Kevin Norman?
Well, that was a big safety break there for Kevin. But you see he ran the car too far over the curb on the exit of the bus stop there, Kevin. That'll give him some incident points and hurt his cause. You want to rack up too many of those in the back end of this race.
Well, something's just happened because he has dropped right back. So he's definitely, Mason Harvey is just taking that position back. So another reprieve now for Paul Mansell. Gives himself a big one there as Mason Harvey takes seconds. Just goes wide too. I don't think that was a different drive line. I reckon that was just a bit of late braking. Brake late and turn. Hope for the best.
Pushed it deep. What are we looking at? 1 second is the gap now. Mansell to Harvey.
So Neil Woodburn has now left the race as well, looking at my timing screen. So that's unfortunate there after that incident earlier, which really pushed him off. And looked like Netcode, he just went away. He ghosted us. Just looking down to see where there's some more things. Sam Dick has moved his way back into 7th already, and he is right on the back of Scott Stevens. And they won't be wanting a repeat of the restart that we had just a few laps ago where these guys came together, and unfortunately then the rest of the field came through and just did a demolition derby on them.
And we're looking to try and maybe work together and go, all right, well, I know you're quicker. Let them go on through and see what they can make of trying to salvage a result here. Points not too important for Scott Stevens, but Sam can't really afford to give away too many more points to Paul Mansell out front. He gave away a race win at Circuit of the Americas for round 3. Didn't make it to race here at round 4 when we went to Watkins Glen and the boot circuit layout we had there. And this time around, he's on the back foot trying to make up time, try and claw back some points in the series standings as Paul Mansell led that one coming into this round at round 5 at Daytona. With 10 minutes to go, he leads the race by 1.1 seconds over Mason Harvey in second.
Here we go, there might be a little bit of a move on here. Oh, he puts a nose in, tries to get it done. No, it looks like he's going to get the move done, and he gets in front of he gets in front of Scott Stevens there, so he manages to get that move done. Scott Stevens, though, puts the nose back in. Let's have a look, see if we can get an instant replay on that move back there. No, it's definitely, my replay is locked up and not working. I can grab incidents though. Peter B's had an off track while we've been talking, and Tyrone Anderson and Fitzroy Beaumont, a couple of ones still going on there. And I'm just trying to see where Fitzroy Beaumont, I might actually have a look at this one because he's dropped back as well. This is on lap 26. We're just going to go back here and see if we can find what happened with this incident. Tyrone Anderson's in front. He's had an incident as well. The same lap, so maybe something happening here. Just trying to see if there's an off track or something that maybe caused this.
Got himself.
I can hear something going on. There we go, something in the background. So that's unfortunate. So he's moved back. Fitzroy Beaumont, the Azure Autosports, and missing his teammate actually. Corey is not out here tonight. That'll be one because he's actually got third in the last race. So a big one to watch if he's not here tonight. So Sebastian Guest and Eli Tunstall, is it now? They're going to battle it out. Check out the nose cone here. Hey, what's going on? Net code's going on. We've got people going everywhere. Oh, everything always happens. Can I go to an instant replay there? And I just want to see if I can. No, we're not going to see that. It's Kevin Norman, though, with the, if I pull up the incidents. This is Kevin Norman coming in, who was right up there in third position. And I'm just trying to see as we check out the Medicab Media replay.
This is wrapping around and on the way down to the bus stop, is it? No, that's turn 1 and 2.
Turn 1.
I think we might have missed it.
I am going on the incident, so I'm wondering what is going on at some point. No, Sebastian Guest is in the background.
Still in front of him.
So we're just going to keep going with this replay for another couple of seconds because we want to see exactly what. Maybe it takes a little bit too far when I do this one. So
he lost it on the way out of the bus stop, which is coming up soon.
No, it's going to take us back. I'm just going to try this one here and see if we can get it back. I think we're going to have some issues here with the replay. The software has locked up on me mid-race, so let's just go back live because he has dropped back now. Kevin Norman to 9th position, so unfortunate night for him as well. Mason Harvey on the back of Paul Mansell, but there's still a little bit of a gap there as we check that one out. Eli Tunstall, though, is in the fight. And
look at them. Look at the gaggle of cars there. Sebastian Guest third, Eli Tunstall fourth, Sam Dicker and Scott Stevens 5th and 6th right there as well. Nathan Norman 7th, a little further behind, but look at this bunch up of cars coming around the back end of the oval, Matty. This is starting to really tighten up as Sebastian, on screen right now, sits right there in third, and look at them snarling behind him.
Mate, and there's going to
be a BMW.
Oh, sideways, no, in the background, he spins there. Oh, let's check this one out, and I'm going to have to go back to Sam Dicker and see if we can get an instant replay on this one. It's not going to show me now. No, I'm going to bring up Sam Dicker on the replay. Of course, it's going to do this to me. No, it's not actually going back to the instant.
No, it's not giving it to you, is it?
No, which is unfortunate there because that's a huge instant. No, it's going to let me fast forward, so I don't know what's going on. Let's get back on with Sam Dicker now. Let's check this one. And right behind him is Scott Stevens. So it was actually his teammate that got turned around there. And that was, I'm just going back through. Eli Tunstall, yeah. That's, and he spun himself out.
On the curving.
Well, I wonder how much the aero upsets the car in front. Because you know that with a NASCAR style, when you come off the banking, you can actually upset the aero of the car in front of you. So I wonder if that's what we're seeing here.
Just grabbing the back end of the car and pulling it around as they slow up and dive through the bus stop. But an unfortunate one there for Eli Tunstall, as that puts Sam Dicker up into the 4th spot and going to be looking forward to try and put some pressure on Sebastian Guest and claw back some points. He's put himself back into 200 and something, just over 200 points now for this round if Sam Dicker stays full.
Well, depending on when they get around this final lap, we're only going to have 3 or 4 more laps with this. 5.5 minutes left to go. It's going to depend whether they can get over that start-finish line to do that extra lap. So although he's not too far off of Sebastian Guest, he's going to have to keep pushing hard. Last lap, though, was with the incident, though, Sebastian Guest had a second, 1.2 seconds faster. And I know there's got to be a fair bit of tyre wear there from Sam Dicker. I mean, he's been involved in so many incidents. And right on the back of him, Scott Stevens, too. So one little error and Stevens is going to try and take that position back. And this is for position number 4, you can see up on screen at the moment. Sebastian Guest holding the last of our podiums just in front. He's got himself a 1.2 second lead at the moment. Out in front, though, Paul Mansell, the Injectors Online Lamborghini. The only Lamborghini. No, we've got 2 Lamborghinis in the top 10. Kieran Ellis has just come in number 10 at the moment. So only 3 Lamborghinis in the field, and one of them is leading us out at the moment with just under 5 minutes left to go in this 1-hour race. We're going to say 3 laps after they complete this one is going to be my guess.
You're going to take a bet on that one. It's going to be tight, though, for Paul Mansell. He's just being in the right place at the right time and hanging on to this one. It's an easy one to lead if no one's challenging you, but he's had a fair few challenges that just really haven't stacked up so far.
I'm just trying to see what happened there because there was an overtake. So Sam Dicker has now got back on the podium. Scott Stevens. So where have we lost? We have lost Sebastian Guest. What's he done? He's back here. Obviously, he's come unstuck. I'm not going to lie. I'm not liking the fact that my replays are decided to lock up. At all.
Right at the critical point in the race as well.
When everything's happening, yes.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Sebastian, he's dropped off outside of the top 10 just behind Kieran Ellis after being in
now we're going to get instant replay. I think I fixed it.
Nah.
It's too late. It's too late.
Just following Sam as well. Oh well, 3.5 minutes left to go. Sam Dicker, 7.2 seconds off the race leader, Paul Mansell. Mason Harvey sitting pretty there, second on the road at the moment. It's these two that came together at the restart to drop all the way back through the field and climb back through the order. They have put on a monumental effort to drive back through the field, but do they have enough to close to the pointy end? They are running out of time.
And you can see there's still a couple of battles going on a bit further down. I think Eli Tunstall and Nathan Norman, we might head back. This is for position number 5 now. They're having a little bit of a battle as well. So Nathan Norman just behind in the HP livery. Don't know if he's going to... This is Eli Tunstall working his way back. He dropped back to about 7th with a little bit of a spin earlier. There's plenty of incidents going on. Shane Ewan's involved in something at the moment as well. Another little battle we've got going on further down in the pack. Looks like it's going to be Caleb Simic. He's trying to chase down Kevin Norman just in front. He's only 4/10 behind. Kieran Ellis now, look at that. Sebastian Guest has just got past him. He was in 11th, so he's just made the move on Kieran Ellis, our anime man in the Lamborghini. So Kieran Ellis will just drop out of the top 10 now, see if he can try and stay with him. Tyrone Anderson, mate, I don't think we're playing get on the beers, mate. You're back in 12th. I might have, if you got on the podium, I might have still done it. Like, because I'm a nice guy.
You might have given it to him.
Yeah, I might have. Head back to 3rd position though. Sam Dicker's got himself back on the podium. What a comeback from him. He has been involved in so many things happening throughout this race. Paul Mansell took that undercut, didn't he, early. Lap number 7. We're 30 laps completed now. We said we'll get about 32. We're not going to be too far off that. 7 laps in, and we did guess that too, that 7 would be the minimum. They'd have to, the minimum amount of laps they'd have to complete to be able to make it to the end. Paul Mansell came in, took the risk, and I think that clean air out in front, that's what we said. The problem with not coming in early and having that clean air is not the aero and being able to draft someone in front of you. It's making sure that you don't have an incident in front of you.
Yeah, that's a really key point right there. Is Sam Dicker and Scott Stevens got caught up and they've been fighting through the field. And you slow yourself down when having to put cars in front of you. Paul Mansell took the smart choice, the easy way, and has been doing it in style. 1.8 seconds up on Mason Harvey with 1:15 to go. But Scott Stevens is still pushing on the back bumper of Sam Dicker to try and make it on the podium here at round 5 of the GT3 E-Series.
Here we go. Stevens, he might try and put a move on. Can't quite get it done, can he? He's trying to get under that wing around the banking though. Try and upset that aero on the back of Sam Dicker's car, because that seems to be what we're seeing quite commonly. Coming off the banking, the cars get loose out there and there's no contact. I think it's an upsetting the aero, really taking the weight off the, taking that downforce away from the rear of the car with that high speed as they get hard on the brakes.
Working our way in, 35 seconds left to go here in round 5 of the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series. We're following the battle for third. Sam Dicker and Scott C. They've made up a huge amount of time. They're down actually 4.1 seconds off the back of Paul Mansell, who is just cruising at the moment, maintaining 1.6 over Mason Harvey, who's splitting the difference in second. But this is the battle for the podium. What a tight one it is, right down to the wire here, Matty.
Mate, this is going to go down to the wire. Paul Mansell must be coming around to complete the final lap because he's out there, 31 laps completed, so we will get 32 as the time ticks down. So we are on the final lap now. The final lap is happening. This is your race leader, Paul Mansell. Going to watch that little battle going on because it's all on between Sam Dicker and Scott Stevens for the final few corners, but we cannot go off our race leader as he is about to cross the start-finish line. He's looking for another win. He won in round number 4. He took the win there. He took the win in round number 3 as well. And the checkered flag comes out as we finish this lap off. It will be the end of the race. Paul Mansell takes it. Mason Harvey in second. Big congratulations. Now Sam Dicker looks like he's going to hold out over Scott Stevens just back there. Eli Tunstall comes around. He's not far behind. Nathan Norman a little bit further back and holds off a charging Kevin Norman trying to come back in the field. That's a good one to watch. Fitzroy Beaumont's made his way back up into 8th after a spin earlier in the race. Caleb Simic looks like he's something just happened there. He's people going around. Sebastian Guest will try and finish this one off in 10. They've already come around. Kieran Ellis there, the anime man, finished. Craig Spencer, where did he end up? He's dropped all the way back to 14 too, nearly where he started. Toucan Timmy there in 15. Dylan Sates comes around in 16. We didn't see much of Dylan tonight. Peter B right back in the hairpin, and looks like Shane Ewan's behind him too, the territory boy. So they're coming around to complete their laps. It's just Peter B and Shane Ewan's left on the track at the moment. Still happening. So our race winner though is Paul Mansell once again. You see him on the podium. Mason Harvey in second. And Sam Dicker in third. Will find another podium tonight. So let's check out the race results.
Paul Mansell getting the win.
He will get the win. Paul
Yeah,
Mansell.
there you go. Mason Harvey.
I'll let you go through it.
Mason Harvey claims second. Sam Dicker in a massive comeback drive for third from Scott Stevens, chasing him through after that incident on the restart. Good to see Eli Tunstall back there, P5, after he mounted a bit of a comeback. There was a lot of comeback racing in this round. Round 5 for the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series. Nathan Norman ended up P6. Kevin Norman in P7. Fitzroy Beaumont, another one on the comeback drive in the 8. Caleb Simic was in with a shout of being in the top 5 at some stages. He ended up P9. Sebastian Guest was in third at one point. He ended up P10 as a result of an incident out there. Tyrone Anderson P11. Kieran Ellis consistent there in P12. He was always around the top 10 there. Peter Hurd in P13. Craig Spencer was up to, I think, second at one stage after starting about where he finished here. Ends up P14. Timmy Nickel, P15 from Dylan Sates in 16. Shane Ewans, Peter B, Noah Lyle and Edward Mitchell rounding out your 20. Neil Woodburn, who we did lose at some point from Mark Peck as well, and we didn't see anything from Gianni, Josh or Matt on track.
Oh, Mark Peck, he just wanted ice cream and a spa bath. I'm telling you that, I can tell you that now. That was a conversation last night. That's all he dreams about. Is his spa bath and an ice cream as our 3 leaders line up on the main straight. Let's see if we can get a nice shot of them lined up there. So that's 1, 2 and 3. Paul Mansell, Mason Harvey and Sam Dicker. Let's see if we can drag these guys in and have a bit of a chat with them. First off, we might try and start with Sam Dicker, who I'm going to run down here and see if I can move him into our little Discord channel, invite him into the server. No, we don't want to do that. We want to move him to commentators. Okay. Mr. Dicker, you are live in the commentators chat, mate. Congratulations. Hard night out there. Plenty of going on, but you've managed to make your way onto the back of the podium.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame. I thought we had some really good pace here. So it was looking pretty good off the restart, but unfortunately just had a bit of an incident in turn 1. But yeah, pretty big drive back through. It was awesome fun. Everyone raced respectfully. And then the bloke I crashed with in turn one, me and Scotty, we had a good race at the end there for third place. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, exciting to watch, and good to see you back in the series, mate. You missed a round. You've actually been doing the go-karts over in Vic, but you're back in WA now?
Yeah, back over here for now. So we actually just went into lockdown and lost our karting race that was meant to be here. So hence why the round got back moved to this weekend for the E-Series. So yeah, pretty keen to jump in the series. Me and Paul will be pretty tight in points now with a drop round. He should be just ahead. So yeah, it's a mint series shaping up for a good tight end.
Mate, we can't wait to see what it brings between you and Paul, because that's where the fight is at the moment. And a bit of a shame Corey Bennett couldn't join us this week as well, because he's getting a few points on the board.
Yeah. I'm really keen for the rest of the series, and as per usual, I'm going to go and watch the live stream now and watch the show you boys put on, because I can't thank you guys enough. It's always mint.
Yeah, thanks, mate, and I'm glad we could hold it out. It's been a good one straight together tonight. Congratulations on the third place and a few more points. Let's drag in number 2 now, Mason Harvey, and see if we can have a chat with him. Mr. Mason Harvey, how are you going, buddy? We've got you in the commentators chat.
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
I'm going good, mate, but I know that Chris wants to have a chat with you.
Mate, good drive there. You end up
Thanks,
P2.
mate.
It's pretty wild there throughout the midpoint of the race. You and the other boys were pretty tight there, looking for a pretty close finish. You just got to hold on in this track at Daytona.
Yeah. So coming into the weekend, I was like, oh, it's definitely going to be Toe. He's going to be the key factor of who wins this race. So starting from P9, I think I started. I was definitely not expecting to be up in the top 3, the late stages. But on that restart, when Sam and Stephen, I think, came together, that's when I knew I was on for a good result then. So I just kept pushing, kept my head down, and stayed with Mansell for a bit, but it was just a bit too fast for me. So
how important around this track was the aerodynamics, not just getting in the toe and closing up behind someone, but when you pull out from behind someone, does it upset the car in front and get the rear end loose? Because we saw a lot of that, what looked like that, from upsetting the aero of the car in front while you're being the chasing car.
Yeah, especially into that fast chicane before coming onto the main straight. It's really bad through there when you pull out, and even trying to go wider line, like coming over the finish, is definitely, you can feel the rear step out, and yeah.
Great work, mate. Good to see you up in the podium, and hopefully we see you up there again in the coming rounds. Round 6 coming up soon.
Hopefully. Cheers, mate.
Good job, mate.
All right, let's drag in Paul Mansell, because Paul Mansell always likes to have a chat. He's muted himself. He doesn't want to talk to us. Is he unmuting himself? He might be on push to talk. We'll see if we can have a chat with him. No one really wants to talk to Paul Mansell, do they? I'm just going to make sure that we actually... No, we've got to mute. We've muted him in the server. That's a good reason. I've muted him deliberately. You're unmuted, mate. I've actually got you off. I'm going to let you talk.
Thanks, mate. That's very kind of you.
I was just going to let you get a couple of vodka cruises in before we had this interview. That's all.
Yeah, I was just swallowing my last mouthful.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it's another win, mate. It's a good result for you. Early pit stop, though. Was that a bit of a risk coming in at lap number 7?
Mate, I had no fuel. I had to. I was about 0.6 coming to the line, so I didn't have any more fuel left, so I had to come in.
Well, it actually worked out pretty well for you, because you probably didn't see what happened behind you, but there was a fair bit of carnage on the restart, and that pushed Sam Dicker and Scott Stevens quite a bit back down the field.
Yeah, well, you're sort of always looking in your mirrors at the start there, especially in a turn 1, and I did see a little bit of chaos going on. So it wasn't until I started to come back on the oval where I noticed Sam had dropped down a bit. So I thought, oh, here we go. So I thought I'd better put my head down and just push on and see how we go. But the Ferraris were so quick. I was prepared to come second or third there, that's for sure.
Wow. Got one for you, Paul. How tight were you on fuel on the back end of that race? So having to stop so early, take an pit stop time. Were you pretty tight?
No, not at all. I'll be honest with you, I didn't take in consideration the safety car like I normally do. I totally forgot about it, and I was a bit surprised I had to take over 100 litres of fuel at the stop. So I was sort of trying to work it out in my head. But no, I finished with just over 20 odd litres in the tank. So yeah, I was a bit heavy, but felt better through the bus stop, I'll be honest.
Interesting, better with a heavier car there, Matty.
Yeah, very interesting there. Big aero on this track, really, isn't there, with that banking too, which we saw behind you. A lot of guys getting unstable, really, when they got out of the draft, which was interesting to watch. So you're probably pretty lucky you took that early stop. Actually, I think that probably played in your favour.
Yeah, as I said, I didn't really have a choice. I was hoping to stop at the same time as Sam, so I was surprised to see they did a couple extra laps. But no, look, I sort of thought it'll sort of work itself out, and I was surprised they took tyres, even though there's a safety car and they'll be right up there. But yeah, no, I think I was a bit lucky. Just come to me sometimes, but yeah, but happy with the win, that's for sure. Good for the points.
Well, congratulations, mate. We know there's a drop round, so you take that into account. You and Sam Dicker are going to be neck and neck at the moment. We've got a few rounds left to go. Week off for Valentine's Day. You going to do anything special for the lovely lady in your life?
Look, I'm sure I'll work something out. She's had to put up with me for a while, so yeah.
One night off the sim.
Special.
She gets one night where you're not on the sim.
Oh, let's not go too far.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure I can spare that, mate. Won't be a problem.
All right, we'll see you on the 21st. Thanks for talking with us.
Thanks, guys. Well done. Cheers.
Oh, there you go. He might take a night off the sim. How good is Paul?
I like the operative word there. He might take a night off the sim.
Oh, that is spectacular, right? I love talking to Paul Mansley. He's a good bloke and, yeah, obviously a big contender here in the series. But, yeah, so your top 10, we'll just go through them very quickly. And it's going to be Paul Mansley takes the win, Mason Harvey in second, Sam Dicker in third, Scott Stevens fourth, ends up there, and good to see him joining the series. Eli Tunstall in fifth, Nathan Norman in sixth, Kevin Norman seventh, Fitzroy Beaumont eighth, Caleb Summich in 9 and Sebastian Guest in 10. And out of all those guys, Paul Mansell was about the only one that didn't even get involved in some sort of spin or contact, leading the race for most of it after he pitted after lap number 7. So that's a big talking point. Chris, mate, been another fantastic night. We get another week off, and we're going to do it all again in a couple of weeks. Man, what a great race, though. It's that's probably been the wildest race we've had so far in the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series. And it's good to see more new faces coming in, regulars on iRacing and WA and Perth Motorsports people, even people all the way around Australia joining in and having fun. It adds to the fray, and I hope more people come on and join. If you've got a friend who does a bit of iRacing or even someone here in WA karting, get them onto it because we are back in not too long time, 21st of Feb. We're going to Spa and we're going racing at night again, Matty. Yeah, the night tracks are fantastic. It adds another dimension, I suppose, to the race for the drivers. They're lit up pretty well at Spa, though. Like, it's a pretty well lit track. As you can see tonight, we get those bright liveries. So, guys, redo them. Don't do the dark colours. Go nice and bright. And, of course, Eli Tunstall. Kieran Ellis. We want another anime one. That's all we've got to say. Yeah, of course. Another anime. Have to have another anime. Well, thanks, everyone, for watching, of course. Big shout-out to Rise Racing, Sam Dicker Motorsport, Direct Industries for sponsoring the FLATOUT KARTS GT3 E-Series. That was round number 5. Thanks for your time. Big thanks to Chris Mitchell for joining me again. And we can't wait to see you again in 2 weeks. Good night.